Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. It's way too early, but it is time. Apple is just a mere 30 minutes away from their Let Loose iPad event. Excited is not the right word I would use to describe it. A lot of people assume my enthusiasm or optimism as a sign of excitement. No, this is more curiosity than anything. Like, it's the longest gap we've had between iPad releases. We've still got another month to go before Dub Dub. So it feels like they can't really get too carried away with software. Simultaneously, rumors are saying that the M4 is doubling down on neural cores and generative AI features. So how are they supposed to unveil a new chip and have it be optimized for AI but not reveal too much all at the same time? It's weird. It's also the first time OLED has been on the iPad, so I'm sure there's some fancy hardware features that they want to showcase. But yeah, curious slash perplexed, I would say, is my current emotion for it. But for the West Coast, this is certainly much, much earlier than we're used to watching Apple events. Honestly, it feels more like one of those pre-order live streams that we do at like 5 in the morning because we just have to start so early. At least the sun is up where I'm at. But yeah, get pumped, get excited if you can, curious if not. Dear shout out says we need a new 60 hertz tablet. No, we don't. Stop that. That would be a lovely, pleasant surprise. It's probably not going to happen, but I personally would love it if they brought the ProMotion display to the iPad Air, at least the larger one, because it's probably going to be more expensive anyway. It's not like it's really going to be cross-shopped that much with the iPad Pro because it's like, well, either you're going all the way with a Pro or, you know, if they're keeping around a 12.9-inch display in the lineup, I thought Ross Young's initial report made a lot of sense because they're recycling the old displays, so keep using mini LED, but then in the last second he changed his mind. Said, actually, never mind, it's not mini LED. So I'm like, what's going on? I don't get it. But yeah, last minute leaks are talking about Apple Pencil Pro potentially. I don't necessarily think that means it'll be a separate tier. I agree with the same thoughts that Michael Burkhardt has shared on Twitter. If you don't follow him, he's a great, great account to check out. MC Rich, thank you for the super chat. He said, "Good morning and welcome to Apple Park." And another super chat, thank you so much, from Peter, says, "Good morning, changes of Space Black Pro." There's never been a Space Black iPad, has there? There was a slate black iPad mini. Unprofessional motion display. Yeah, I'm with you, YJ. Read the subtitles so we can sync the event with your stream. I mean, good morning. Yeah, we'll do that again. If anything, I'm trying to think. I had this idea a while ago. I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but let's see what I can do. If I select Safari, okay, yeah. So that whoa, where did it go? Oh, it's behind. That's why. That's very zoomed in. Oh, it's all cropped. That's right. So my plan here, just to be clear, just to remind anybody in case this is your first time watching a reaction stream for me, I cannot show, no matter what I try, I cannot show the event. So you have to have me on one stream and the Apple event either in another window or another device or whatever. I really wish I could. I've tried in the past to show the Apple event on Twitch, on YouTube, but they will take down the stream. They will issue a copyright strike or takedown, whatever you want to call it. Apple doesn't want me to show the event. And because it takes time for Apple to send the event to my computer to process my reaction and upload it to YouTube servers, there will always be a delay. It's not, I just want to remind everybody, it's not an issue with my internet. Even if I had the fastest internet in the world, there would still be a delay. So that's why at the start of all of these things, once the event begins, I tend to read the subtitles so that you guys can figure out, okay, how do I pause the Apple event for 5 to 10 seconds to get it in sync with Drew's reaction? And I was thinking something I might want to try, but again, it's kind of risky because Apple has taken down my streams in the past when I try to show stuff. Let me see if I hit edit transform. I turn off. I'll just hit reset. There we go. Cool. I was wondering if I showed like a tiny, tiny window, if I went very, very tiny with it, how tiny could I get? But if I make the event in the bottom corner that small, again, you won't be able to hear the event. I also can't do audio. That doesn't work either. They'll capture that, and also you probably want to watch the event too, so you'd have to mute one and turn on the audio for another. Also, I've heard people who've watched my reaction streams in the past tell me that they actually prefer having me on a separate device or a separate tab, because if a really interesting part of the Apple event is happening where you don't want to hear anything I say, then you can mute me and turn the Apple event audio up all the way. Or if it's a more boring part, you can turn me back up with the volume and turn down the Apple event. You can tweak it the way you like. It gives the end user more control. Jonesy says, I wouldn't risk it. I'm not even saying I'm going to stream the entire event from that tiny little corner. I'm just saying I might leave it up there for the first couple minutes just so everybody can get it in sync. Because Apple tends to go live about 10 minutes before the event actually begins with some cool visualizations. So you'll be able to just see when the visualizations are changing, because there'll probably be some pretty colors or artwork. And if you just see whenever they make a cut down here in the bottom corner, that might help you get the stream in sync before it actually begins. Okay, that's what I'm trying today. I'm trying new things. I'll read the subtitles too. Everyone's like, don't risk it, don't risk it. Do you really think the Apple legal team will be upset if the event is shown down here? Personally, I don't understand why they care if someone else I mean, it's a commercial. It's a big ad. I'm literally broadcasting Apple advertising to the masses. They broadcast it to the masses. I'm just broadcasting it to even more people. I don't see how that hurts them in any way. It's not like Apple generates a bunch of revenue from their live streams or something. In fact, if you watch it from the website, there's no ads. So there's literally nothing to be lost by someone restreaming it. But anyway, they don't want to... most people I don't even think watch it on YouTube, if I'm being honest. But can we please get a physical keyboard built into the iPads? Oh, built into... Okay, that's just a Mac at that point. I'm sorry. I can't... They already borrowed a lot of, Mac features, but you want to go that far. I'll still read the subtitles, yes, but this little tile in the corner should help. I'll turn the tile off eventually. Tell Louise she did a great job. Oh, thank you. She was beating herself up over it, but I like having short hair, especially in the summer months, because it gets very hot around here. If Apple did not take you down because of the skits, then just stay cool, Drew. They will not have either. They can't take me down because of the skits. They don't have any legal grounds to. Nicholas says, hey, for the pre-stream party shenanigans, then I will be back for the after party. Oh, cool. Well, I hope you enjoy the event itself. It should be, the rumors are, in case you missed it, the rumors are that it's going to be about 35 minutes. So it shouldn't be an insanely long event, which is part of the reason I'm hoping this will be a pretty, well-paced event. I hope there's not too much fluff and too much padding. Do you think you'll get a new iPhone color? I feel like we should. It's been how many years in a row that they've had? Basically, every year since 2017, Apple has had a product red iPhone color. It's a little weird that this is the first cycle that it's already into May and we still don't have a product red iPhone. So is this the first generation of iPhone? They just decide, you know what, we don't want to support the red foundation anymore. So I personally think we should get one. There's been no leaks or no rumors in support of this idea. I just think, looking at Apple's history of iPhone colors, it's a little weird that there's still no red iPhone. There's also no white, I guess, for the regular 15. But just as a heads up, the Apple Store app is officially down, which means there will likely be iPads ready to order after the event concludes. So get your wallets ready if you were interested in buying one of these. I still think buying a certified refurbished M1 iPad Pro is probably going to be the best deal of the day. And now that there's new iPads coming out, if you're willing to wait a couple of weeks, because the new iPads that come out today are probably not going to be ready to ship today either. So you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks regardless. But if you wait a little bit longer, the prices of the refurbished M1 iPad Pros will probably dip down. And because there's so little reasons to upgrade your iPad these days, that's why I'm not encouraging that many people to buy new, unless, again, Apple has some tricks up their sleeve that the older M1 or M2 iPad Pros are just not capable of doing. I still struggle to figure that out, but we'll see. Can the MacBook Notch come over to the iPad, or even better yet, bring the iPhone Dynamic Island to board of the bezel? I don't think it works as well on a device that is used in multiple orientations as much as the iPad is. I think the iPad, more so than the iPhone and more so than the Mac, is used both in portrait and in landscape quite frequently. And personally, I don't think a notch would mesh that well unless you just plan on using it docked with a keyboard case, I guess, all the time. But I don't think most people do. I think, well, I don't know. There's probably some people that kind of just treat it like a laptop and always keep it in the keyboard case. But what I liked about the iPad, and it seems like what Apple likes about it too, is this is just the device optimized for Apple Pencil usage. And when you're using it with a pencil, you're kind of, orienting it all over the place. You're not always using it in one orientation like you are a Mac. You pretty much can only use a Mac in one orientation. An iPhone occasionally goes in landscape, but these days more and more people are very comfortable with them just in portrait mode. You can't even convince people to move the phone sideways to do full screen landscape, because then they're like, well, now I can't really do much multitasking. So I'd rather just have picture in picture, or people like watching vertical content on, TikTok or Shorts or whatever. So yeah, I would say the vast majority of the time the iPhone is probably used in portrait mode. Moon River, thank you for 24 months of support. Wow, 2 years. I can't watch the event at the doctor's. Don't worry, there will be much more efficiently paced recap videos. I'll be doing a recap video right after the event commences. I'm hoping I can shrink it down to be as short as possible and make it more digestible for people, but as long as iPad stays iPad, Apple won't get my money. Right, and again, most people's biggest complaints with the iPad come down to software, and it doesn't sound like this is supposed to be a big software-focused event. They're going to save all the iPadOS changes for Dub, right? So, or are they? Apple likes to throw curveballs at us sometimes. That's what's kind of interesting, is the fact that we're watching this spring event in May. I actually looked it up, and as far as I can tell, correct me if I'm wrong, but as even scrolling back through, there's a Wikipedia page full of every Apple, public event that they've ever hosted. I can't find an Apple event that was ever in the month of May. Tell me if you know of one, but this is the first time in decades at least that Apple's actually hosting an event in the month of May, which is quite out of character for them. So maybe another out of character release could be the fact that they want to talk about new iPadOS changes today, so that they don't have to talk about them at Dub, and they can focus more on their whole, I don't know, Siri GPT, whatever you want to call it, or Vision OS, hopefully, has some exciting updates in June. But yeah, just another month to go, and we'll be doing this all over again. But thanks, everybody, for showing up. It's cool to see so many people here. Do you think we can purchase today, or will we wait till Friday? I think you'll probably be able to purchase today. I don't recall a lot of times where Apple is like, pre-orders for the new iPad begin at 5 a.m. this Friday. They do that with big launches like the iPhone, and they also did it with Vision Pro, which was kind of this big special release because it's their first hero product in a long time. But I don't think they've ever done it with iPads. Typically, especially when the store only goes down 30 minutes before the event begins. That happened with the Mac event, and you could order Macs. I believe it was right after the event finished. That was the last Apple event back in October. It's been a while. Headless Strat says, what crazy new feature on the new iPads would make you consider upgrading and stop recommending for refurbished? That's a good question. It'd be a tough one, honestly, because I just think that the existing hardware is so good. So it would come down to software features, I guess. That dual boot Mac OS, that would be hard to argue with because I've been asking for it for so long. So if they just said, "Hey, if your iPad has an M4 chip, it can run Mac OS and iPad OS, whichever one you prefer," I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, can't do that on an M2, M1 iPad Pro." So, all right, and I would consider it. I'd be like, "Well, okay." I'm not saying I would go out and buy one right now because my current MacBook Pro is still amazing, and the hardware on the iPad Pro is objectively worse because smaller battery, less ports, smaller display. I like me a big display. Avocado Atrocity, thank you for the super chat. Apple introducing tactical gray iPad pencil. I've never heard it called the iPad pencil, but I guess that's what it is, right? Hey, Daniel, good to see you. There's no pre-order because the iPad isn't important. Yeah, pretty much. Just like there's no calculator app. In what world does one need an iPad if they already have an iPhone and a MacBook? Someone who wants cellular on a larger display, someone that wants a note-taking device, someone that wants a stylus for note-taking, drawing. There's a lot of classes in college or high school or whatever that involve, drawing out charts or graphs or, doing math equations, and it's just not practical to do that on a phone or on a keyboard and mouse. So I used my iPad a lot more when I was in college for a lot of the math classes I was in and stuff. But yeah, now I'm not in school anymore. I'm not drawing very much. I mainly was using my iPad before for video thumbnail design, but now that iOS has Subject Lift, that kind of killed all of the reasons for me to use my Apple Pencil. So once I got Subject Lift on my phone, I just didn't use my iPad like hardly for anything. So that's why I sold it. I still don't have an iPad, so today's Apple's opportunity to win me back. I gotta really see something impressive. Drew Shoto, thank you for 25 months of support. I enjoy all the content. Oh, thanks, man. That's nice of you. 32 months from Daniel Holloway. Holy crap. I don't want Mac OS on iPad, just Mac apps on iPad OS. Yeah, they tried giving us that. We got Final Cut for iPad. We got Logic Pro on iPad, and they're just watered down, skimmed down, membership only versions of their Mac counterparts, and they're missing a bunch of features too. In case you missed it, I did a whole video reviewing Final Cut on iPad and how horrible it is. And there were way too many people that were like, "What? You wanted Final Cut, so they gave it to you." And I was like, "Not like this. I just wanted the Mac version." That's like, kind of killed the whole thing because we were annoyed with, the limited apps available on iPad OS and how they all had to be watered down for the iPad. And we were like, well, what I'd really like is Final Cut because Final Cut can do all these things, but just on an iPad. So we want that great software that we have on our Mac, and the iPad has the same silicon as the Mac. We want that brought over. So when Apple brings it over, but then changes everything about it, gets rid of all the things we like about it, it kind of defeats the whole point in the first place, right? Yeah, so they brought over a bunch of Mac apps, but they just have to screw them up in the process to dumb them down, which I don't like. Practical Investing says, "Can you keep quiet during the live event?" No. Just to be clear, this is a reaction stream, so there's no point in doing a reaction stream if my whole reaction is I'm not going to just stare at it the whole time. So if you want me to shut up, you can mute me. There's this beautiful thing YouTube has where you can just mute the video player, or if you have me on a separate device, you can just mute that whole device. So if Apple's saying something really interesting and you don't want to hear my commentary, go ahead. But if you don't want someone talking through the event, do not watch this stream. I'm just warning you straight up right now. It's not going to be a good time if you were hoping for a quiet, peaceful reaction stream where nothing is said. No, I'm not. I'm going to react with facial expressions and words. Yeah, you'll probably be able to pre-order today. Apple will bring out their version of the Amazon Echo Show, but an Apple version. That would be a nice surprise. That's kind of been talked about, but not been rumored for this event. I'm hoping for some kind of surprise. It doesn't have to be, the Apple Car kind of announcement, but a really cool one would be that the iPad Air gains a ProMotion display. That would be a big oh, hey, that would be fun. Or like you said, if there's a new HomePod with a little bit of a screen on it and you can show a little bit of information, can run kind of some kind of modified version of tvOS or something. Uh, the stream is up. Okay, I'm going to be very careful now. It's playing, but I think you'll be able to see it in the corner down there. So yeah, so way down here in the corner, you can see kind of little artifacts, little colors moving around. And this should help you put your stream, which is now live on apple.com. That's where I tend to watch it. You can also watch it on YouTube, I believe. But yeah, it should be down there for you guys to look at if you want to get it in sync. And then, reminder, I will take away the event when it begins because I don't want Apple to get mad at me. Let's see. What's been my favorite release at any of the past light refresh Apple streams? Any that stood out as actually being substantial, or have they always been boring? Okay, very specific question. Favorite release of the light refresh? Because I was going to say the Vision Pro was kind of exciting. I really like the iPhone 15. I'm still using that. That's how you guys are seeing me right now. Also, I know a lot of people didn't like it because of the lower RAM, but I was very impressed with the entry model 14-inch MacBook Pro. Even though it was missing that Thunderbolt port and, you know, people didn't love that it still shipped with 8 gigs of unified memory, I was just looking at it as, hey, there's now a Mac for $1,600 that has mini LED, that has ProMotion, and has the same incredible battery life as the 16-inch model. You know, before, when the 14-inch MacBook Pro had to have the Pro level chip in it, you had to get worse battery life. There was no way around it. But because Apple finally put the regular M3 in the MacBook Pro, it increased the battery life, it lowered the price, and sure, the unified memory wasn't great, but I know a bunch of people that are buying MacBook Pros not because they're doing some kind of intense pro workflow, but just because they wanted the better speakers or they wanted the better display. So I thought that was, I mean, it wasn't like a major release or anything, but I was excited by that. Also, I was decently surprised with the Mac Studio that I think a lot of people liked. It was like, oh, wow, we didn't think Apple would go there, making like a Pro version of the Mac Mini. It's not quite as expensive as the Mac Pro, but it's just as capable. Has a lot of, you know, it's the first time in probably decades that Apple actually had frontal I/O on a product. So yeah, there's a few little light refreshes that I'm still like, yeah, that was impressive. I like that. Hasiel says, what is your most iconic reaction stream? Black iMac Pro, M1 iMac Vision Pro. Yeah, I feel like iMac Pro reaction was hard to top. That was pretty exciting. I was like, I'm a big iMac fan, and then they dropped the coolest iMac ever, and they still have never really topped that reveal. You can't beat the iMac Pro unveil. It was so cool. The number of ports they put on the back, the amount of performance it got, and it was released early enough that it didn't feel like they juked us out with the Apple Silicon. You know, the 2019 Mac Pro was like, oh, it's another cheese grater. Okay, it's cool that it's modular, but then like a few months after it shipped, they're like, oh, and by the way, we're moving away from Intel. No, iMac Pro still launched like 3 years before Apple Silicon came out. So there were talks about Apple Silicon, but it was still too early for them to do that transition. And, you know, it was $5,000. I believe it is still to this day the only Mac that has ever shipped with 1 terabyte by default. And it was beautiful, and it came with the custom Space Gray accessories. I love that thing. Still love the iMac Pro. It's a shame they never they never refreshed it. But don't forget, if you're joining the live stream now, this is Apple's little visual for the event. So this is a good opportunity for you to get your event in sync with me because there's going to be a delay no matter what. If you have the Apple event on one screen, my reaction on the other screen, you're going to have to pause the Apple event for a couple of seconds just to get it perfectly in sync. And yes, I will read the subtitles at the beginning so that I'm in sync and you guys can do your best to get the reactions lined up. Are the new iPads really getting the M4 chip? We don't know for sure, but we're going to find out probably in the next 20 minutes because, oh my God, it's only 4 minutes till the event begins. The event is rumored to be about 35 minutes, so within the hour we should be done. An hour from now I should be filming the recap video. I guess the M4 chip will be the main interesting part of the event. Hope Gurman isn't wrong about that. No, I think the OLED display would be the more interesting part. Hopefully they do something a little bit creative with that. Maybe the OLED makes them feel comfortable bringing like a nightstand mode to the iPad. I was trying to think of why else would they not add nightstand mode other than the fact that the iPad OS team um, well, it doesn't exist. But will I do an editing stream? Yeah, what I normally do. Hi, Randy, by the way. Randy's in the chat. What I normally do is for the channel members, you get to watch me film and edit the videos. But because it's a special event, I will probably let everybody watch, but I will change the chat into members only. And that's not just a way for me to try to push memberships. It's also because when I'm preoccupied and I'm editing a video, I can't give much attention to the chat. I can give a little bit of attention here and there, but for the most part, I got to focus on the timeline, cutting it up. So the members only mode kind of intentionally slows down the chat so that, you know, I can only get a few new messages at a time, but I can make it so that everybody can still tune in and watch what's going on, even if you can't type in the chat. But the truth is, I would feel bad anyway because I'd have to ignore most of the messages when there's hundreds of people that can come in and write things. It's very hard to keep up with the chat. So if I shrink down the number of people that can comment, it's a little bit more manageable. Titanium iPad Pros will be fun. Oh my god, can you imagine how expensive that would be? Yikes. That's probably going to be the tough pill to swallow today, is that the OLED panels they're rumored to use in these iPad Pros, they're supposed to be good, supposed to be very high quality, but also very, very pricey. Animations aren't in the same order as what it shows on your screen. Well, that probably means we're out of sync. If you are trying to sync, check your live latency on YouTube. Mine is 25 seconds. Yeah, it's unfortunately not much I can do about it. It's all up to you, but I will read the subtitles at the beginning. And yes, I will put in my AirPods now so that I don't get copyright struck. I have an M2 iPad Pro. Do you think if they add macOS, will it be software locked? With the iPad, almost everything is software locked. So, yeah, probably. Especially if macOS is very power constrained, because I've heard that argument a lot, is people saying, well, the Mac can run Mac OS because it has the better cooling system or heat sink, and the iPad can't do it because it's too thin or something. So if they use that argument, then yeah, they could easily say, well, you don't have the performance for Mac OS. But okay, 1 minute, T-minus 1 minute, guys, until good morning. Got my automatic replacement Apple Card, and they have the audacity to think I'll recycle my old card. Yeah, what do they do about that? What if you just don't send back the old credit card? Apple will announce a takeover of Tesla's development. Yeah, right. Good luck with that. Bring back the iPod Shuffle. No. Just buy an Apple Watch. That's the closest thing you're getting anyway. I guess they'd be LTPO display since they're doing 120. Oh, yeah, they have to be. Of course they'd be. But MacBook Air is basically an iPad 2. It has no fans. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but there's also some truth to the fact that the MacBook Air, particularly the M1 MacBook Air, had a better heatsink than even the M2 MacBook Air, which is quite thin and, you know, a little bit lighter. But I had thermal constraints when I used the M2 Air. It wasn't able to record our podcast, but the M1 Air could because of that difference in the heatsink. So if they're comfortable shipping macOS on the M2 Air, I feel like it should be possible to ship macOS on some version of the iPad, assuming what kind of chip it has. But all right, take care, Nicholas. To everybody leaving, goodbye. We'll see you after the stream. It's time. So I'm going to cover that up because I don't want to risk it. I hear the music. Let me scale this so I can read the chat and see the event. All right. I will read the subtitles. Hopefully the whole thing isn't animated. Some people were thinking that the whole event would be animated. Okay, it's starting. Apple Park looks really colorful. Oh, wow. Okay, maybe the whole thing's animated. Never mind. Okay. I saw normal Apple Park for a second. Okay, subtitles are on. I see a rainbow. What a gorgeous intro. I bet they used AI. There's Tim. Yes! We got a good morning. Huge day of announcements ahead of us. And it's all about iPad. In fact, the biggest day for iPad since its introduction. But first, I'd like to give you a couple of quick updates. Here we go. Vision Pro talk. But first, I'd like to advertise. Is he going to announce that they're expanding it? Here comes Porsche. Yep. I knew he was going to say Porsche. Apple, buy Porsche. That's a beautiful... Ooh. Oh no! More surgeries! Eye care. Introducing eye surgery. Products. So if the effects look bad, you can blame us. Everyone working on Wicked is staying home. Oh, that's it? They're not expanding Vision Pro to other countries? We introduced the M3. Now today the M4. The world's 13-inch. How many other laptops are that exact size? Wow, we're only 3 minutes in, and we're already talking iPad. That was quick. This is good. I like the pacing. Yeah, because it's for kids, right? Is that a new iPad? It looks thin. Good morning. We're not even 5 minutes in, and it feels like he's about to unveil a new iPad already. Tim's wearing comfortable clothes. Where did he get that jacket? It looks nice. Huge updates. I hope it's the entire lineup. Oh, I'm flying! Tim Cook, before he announces the new iPad, throws you through the roof. Oh, we're going on to the BART. Wow. Not into the... Oh. There's people just... They're like, John, can you shut up? This is awkward. This is awkward. 5G. 5G. Oh, yeah. I rely on iMovie so heavily. Okay. Talk about the new iPad Air. This must have been so awkward to film. Oh my god. New colors? Is it yellow? Nikias wants it to be yellow. It looks the same. There's a big one! Okay. That's... Alright. 12.9-inch Air confirmed. I think it's 0.9. Might be 0.8. That's probably a green screen. Oh, it's 13! It's even bigger. Wow. Bigger than we thought. She looks thrilled. Shh. You're in a library. Shh. Okay. Yes, it has a screen. I know that. Bigger screens. People like. That does look big. It's the largest screen on an iPad ever. I know what a bigger screen means. You see, a larger screen has a larger screen. People will like having a larger screen because it's larger. There's more pixels. The screen has features. Oh, it's on the landscape. Okay, where's the pencil? Where do I put the pencil? God dang it. Oh, does the keyboard case not work anymore? Do you need a new case? I don't think the bezels look that thick, to be honest. One camera on the back. Uh, they're very muted colors. Ah, that's too light. They ran out of ink. Oh yeah, which chip? M2. Okay, that makes sense. They had the M1. M3 is too new. Doesn't sound like they're 120 hertz though. I need to know if there's a new keyboard case. They have to, right? Because it's 13 inches now. Oh, we're comparing it to the A14 Air. Uh, no one thought the M3 was coming to the Air. They thought the M3 was coming to the Pro. Okay. Sadly, no surprises there. Ooh! Take a shot! She said AI. M2 is still very overkill. With a single click. To amp up the performance with M2. Expand what's possible on iPad Air. She's articulating it like it's the same keyboard. And it supports... Where does it dock? They found a way to dock it in the same place? Ah! Hover. They can turn that on anything if they want. Okay, read these fast. Wi-Fi 6E, landscape camera, still Apple Pencil 2. So I guess they just found a way to fit the camera and the Apple Pencil connection. Okay. All right. Oh, it goes up to a terabyte now? Oh, what's the default storage? I missed it. Is it 128 gig? Yeah, okay, there's our answer. 128! Yes! Thank you. That's still not great. Whoa, there's a lot of storage options. Same price. 800. Okay. Not as bad as I thought. 800 bucks for a 13-inch iPad isn't horrible. Refresh rate is going to be the biggest complaint. Okay. 10 minutes in and we're already done with the iPad. I like the book reveal. Yeah, the 60 hertz refresh rate sucks, but the price is good. Double the storage is good. Ooh, that wink though. John Turnus for CEO? Confirm? Okay. Here's the Pro. backwards. Push the limits backwards. Ooh. I already like the contrast of the font they're using. It's definitely not for pros, let's be honest. What is the latest M chip? Mm-hmm. We're gonna crush the iPad. It's a metronome! It's a... We are going to crush the iPad because it's super thin. Oh, they're actually crushing. Stop! That's a nice trumpet! What are you doing? Stop! Oh no, it's Apple, so you know they actually did this. What a nice piano they destroyed. We care about waste. We care about the environment. Also, Apple. Apple cares a lot about sustainability. Why are they destroying a nice guitar? Oh. I hope this is CGI. Oh my god. Why did they do such a thing? Ah, there it is. It's very thin. Yep, that's way too thin. Generally, everything's gonna bend that crap in half. Oh god, that is so thin. What the heck? Oh. That was an outrageous reveal. Okay. Yeah, the bezels seem about the same to me. Maybe a little thinner, but... how is that new? Why is that a new? It was 11-inch before. Ugh. Okay, those rumors were true. 5.1. Ouch. Oh my god. That's way too thin. Oh wow. I didn't think the thinnest product. What about the Apple Card? Under a pound. That's insane. Oh my god. Space black. Oh, look at that camera bump. Is that metal or frosted glass? Just as strong, really? Is it though? Okay. I don't know about that. Seems like the same smart connector. Thinner than a nano. Okay. All right. OLED confirmed. Yeah, does it only have one camera? Okay. That rumor is confirmed. 2 layers. 2 OLED panels. What an idea! You put them together with like a sandwich. They're more bright. Ooh. Like a tandem bicycle. Oh, good. So it's 1,000 nits without... Ooh. Nice! It should be bright. Yeah, how's the battery life with 2 OLED panels? XD. I'm surprised they're not calling it Super Retina. So I think the resolution's the same. It's going to be the same battery as before. Ultra. Wow, I thought they were going to say super. Now we got ultra. Ultra Retina. Oh my god. Wow. All right. I need to check out an 11-inch, I think. Hmm. All right. Hmm. Yeah, the iPad was just too thick, honestly. Way too thick. Oh, wow! They're actually doing nanotexture. I did not think they were going to do that. So you're going to have this, like, matte finish. A lot of people didn't believe that leak, but it's true. Boy, this is going to be expensive. All right. Which chip? Is it M4? You you might expect. Here we go. The next gen. Oh my god, it's happening. I thought he was going to say it's too thin, so we can't fit the. Wow. Okay. We're all ready to M4. I feel so old. I feel like M1 just came out. Ugh. Who saw this coming? Oh, a huge leap, huh? What an incredibly powerful chip that's going to go in a very basic iPad. Boy. Hmm. How big we talking? Second gen. Promotions support? What? We had that for 7 years. All right. Unlocking. What? All this to say, Geekbench should be a little higher. What? Up to is the key term. Oh boy. Yeah, that was on the M3, but okay. Just gonna fly away. Give me that graph. And that's why it's in the iPad. So that he could shrink the battery size and get the same battery life. Hmm. What are you gonna do with it on the iPad, though? Hmm. Let's talk more about the neural engine. We already have this, and it's still here. Oh, 16 cores. Operations 38 trillion. Will that be enough? It's faster than the A11. I hope so. Mm. There's a keyboard case. Oh, we're not using Final Cut on the iPad. What's an AI PC? Do people have a? Let me guess. The M4 will debut with 128 gigs of storage. Oh no. It's the most powerful iPad. So the M3's dated. Sorry, MacBook Air users. Copper. Better thermals. Okay. Doing what? Okay. Oh, we talking about iPadOS? Are are you changing anything? Or is this just an ad? New keyboard! New keyboard! It has function keys. You see it? They added the function keys. Finally. Okay, it's just an ad. You're not changing iPadOS. Yeah, what did they do with the cameras? And they're terrible. Who uses these? Oh, only a year later, we're updating our apps. Wait, two? They're doing a sequel? Final Cut. What? I didn't know they did numbers. Stop optimizing them for touch! God dang it. Ugh. What they do. Still shot on iPhone. Hey, I don't think this event was shot on iPhone. Did M1? That's not great. Hmm. How does it do this? Huh? Interesting. That's kind of cool. Oh, and the phone. Final Cut. All right. Let's see. Interesting. I like this. Hmm. Wow. I like that. Oh, thank you. I was wanting that. Randy's gonna use this. He loves the multicam stuff. Uh, I kind of just want to try the phone app. Do I have to buy an iPad for that? I feel like I don't need the M4 to do that. If you're just connecting phones wirelessly, that's not an M4 feature. Get 100 different cameras. Okay. The lighting isn't great in this scene, to be honest. Is he out of focus? Is he rapping this? He's kind of rapping. They're built using AI. Oh, God. Take a shot. There's only 5 minutes left. There's like 7 minutes left in the keynote. I got to talk about the new keyboard case. No MagSafe. Chroma Glow. Hmm. Hmm. AI will sing the song for you. Oh. Oh. Wow. It can divide. Oh, that's kind of cool. Nice. It splits apart the different layers. Wonder how well that actually works. Yeah, there is external SSD support for Final Cut Pro 2. Yes, they added that. What'd you do with the cameras? What did you do? I think that's the same. I don't think that changed. Oh, they got rid of the ultra wide lens. Whoa. I didn't see that coming. No more dual camera. I'm okay with that. That ultra wide lens sucked. Using AI. There's no more second camera. It'll be great for document scanning. Interesting. Rest in peace, dual camera. Did they move it again? Yeah, they did. I guess you can still. Oh, is it a little off center? It is! I think it's a little off center. What? New pencil? Wait, what? Oh! Whoa! I can't tell. Did they change it? The subtitles kind of. Is that a metal chassis? Oh, that looks good. That's clean. Wow. Okay, it's aluminum. Oh, and they made it a haptic fit. Whoa. How did they get a haptic engine? That's kind of cool. Type C port still on the side. Ooh. Okay. I don't think they said the camera's different. I think it's the same camera. Here we go. Who wants a stylus? That's that's the headlining feature I would put on it. We are inside the pencil, which looks like the Death Star run. Okay, looks the same. Apple Pencil Pro. Here we go. Pro stands for profit. How expensive is this thing going to be? I just see the Apple cards turning yellow right now. I think the camera is a little off center, which I suggested. Did you see a gray? The barrel. Okay, squeeze. Ooh. Beep, beep. Okay. Oh, that's neat. You can twist it. My first kiss went a little like this. And twist. Oh, finally. That's overdue. Same as before. Does that work with older iPads? I can squeeze my pencil. I like the idea of twisting it instead of the double tap. Art? The Apple Pencil makes me human. Transforms? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Oh, that's really neat, actually, showing the orientation change. All right, that's impressive. Smart. Squeeze. Wow. That's clever. Boink, boink, boink. I like this. Make it pair with the Vision Pro. This is going to cost us, isn't it? If I could draw, I would love this. What? Oh. Weird. We put the M4 chip in the pencil. Interesting. Okay. That has nothing to do with the pencil. I could do that with my finger. Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be $200. That's my prediction. My prediction is $199 for Apple Pencil Pro. Pro naming always brings a price hike. Here we go. Now they saved pricing for the end, right? Do a barrel roll. It can still do the double tap though. They didn't explain if it works with older iPads, which is a good question. Do you need the iPad Pro for the... Oh, here we go. Just the new Air? Oh, it's a little longer. Promotion! LiDAR. It's interesting that they got rid of the ultrawide. Still 2 terabytes. Here it comes. Here's the price. Yes! Double the storage. Thank you. Whew! Okay. Okay. Ooh! There's the... There's, I think the same. 129. That's not bad. That's way better than I thought. Next week. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. $349 for the iPad 10 is so much better. Way better. Oh, wow. The prices were much more reasonable than I expected. Way more reasonable. That's great. They stuck the landing. They stuck the landing. Did they kill the iPad 9? Please? I think they killed the iPad 9. And the iPad mini is there. It's still there. We didn't do anything with it, but it's there. Okay. Apparently the store is up. All right, I'm going picture in picture. We live in an age of wonders. The site has not been updated. I'm refreshing the iPad page and it hasn't changed. I'll try the store. Yeah, Dubs next month. Apple Pencil Pro. Ooh, it's already sunset for Tim. Let me look at compatibility. Okay, the event's over, people. Let me switch over. Oh, it was an HDR. Oh, shot on iPhone, edited on Mac. And iPad. That's hilarious. I can't believe it. They still needed a Mac to get it done. Oh, that's hilarious. That kind of summarizes everything that's wrong with the iPad, is the fact that they had to edit the event on a Mac. And we edited part of it on the iPad. Why did you need two separate devices to edit the event? Of course. What did you mean, Jeremiah? There was... What's in the box? Apple Pencil Pro, of course. Compatibility, here we go. Oh, interesting. So it doesn't work with any previous generation iPad. The Apple Pencil Pro only works with the new Air and the new Pro, which is 13 inches. Did they actually increase the size? Or are they just rounding up now? Because Apple used to round up. All right, let's get our tech specs here. The store is up, but I don't think the web page is. I'm so glad they doubled the storage. Oh, thank goodness. Interesting that they got rid of the ultra-wide. Only one camera on the back now. But $256, okay. $1,000, but it's OLED. Yeah, I think that's overwhelming, really. I was decently surprised. Holy crap! Look at this! The nano-textured glass is only available if you get the 1 terabyte of storage. And then it's $100 extra. Dang. So the bare minimum nano-textured glass is $1,700. And that's on the 11-inch model. Jeez. That's insane. That's cool that they only let you get... I mean, I don't know if it's cool, but it's interesting that they only let you get nano-texture if you get 1 terabyte of storage. Okay, nano-texture was not as cheap as I thought. Ooh, it comes with a black Type-C cable. And a polishing cloth, I think, comes with the nano-textured. Okay. Yeah, they're still saying 10.9 here. I think the iPad 9 is officially gone. I think I'm surprised the iPad mini didn't change in price at all because it's been around for 2 years now. Um, but the iPad Air was reasonably priced. Only downside is measured diagonally as a rectangle. The 13-inch iPad Air is 12.9 inches, and the 11-inch iPad Air is. Okay, I think they're the same size. They're just fudging the numbers. I think that's purely marketing. I don't think it's actually a bigger size. Um, supports Apple Pencil first generation. Yeah, if you use this stupid adapter. Okay. Yeah, no, the home button and the lightning port on the iPad, I think, is officially dead. Finally, finally. I'm so glad they lowered the price on the budget iPad to $350. That's so much better. That's so much more reasonable. And I bet for education, it's probably $299, which is not bad, honestly. Now that the USB-C Apple Pencil exists, Apple basically answered my question. The weird thing is, and I need more answers on this. Yeah, look at this. If you zoom in, I believe the landscape camera is not centered. The center, I think, would be where the three dots are. So, yeah, the cameras are on the side if you're in this orientation, which is kind of weird. But yeah, they had to make room for the connector. I think it's the same on the Air as well. Fresh air. That's funny. Yeah, cameras on the landscape side. Now they don't let me have a good view. These ones look more centered, but then where does the pencil connect? Okay, let me walk through this stupid thing. I'm glad they upped the 9th gen still shows, really? Why would the new Apple Pencil Pro be compatible with the new Air 2 but not with the M2 Pro? Great question. Software locking, probably. I don't know. Okay, no, I think the camera is a little bit off-centered, which is actually exactly what I suggested. I'm glad they might be doing that. The Pencil 2nd Gen and Pencil Pro are the same price. Yeah. Are they still selling the 2nd Gen? I think Apple Pencil Pro just kind of replaces the 2nd Gen, which is kind of weird because a lot of people probably have, the last generation iPad Pro. Yeah, I think they budged the camera just a little bit to make room for that connector, which is kind of like, why didn't you do that with the iPad 10 so we could just have one pencil? But whatever. Yeah, that's what I suggested. Let's see. Apple Pencil 2 USB-C don't work on M2 iPad Pro anymore. What? I don't think there's Apple Pencil 2 USB-C. It's just Apple Pencil with Type-C or Apple Pencil Pro. Those are the only options. All the pencils are being sold. Okay, they're just not showing them in the configurator, I guess. Has this part of the page updated? Yeah, it has. Okay, let me scroll down. What else is there? I don't see. Compare all models. No, not that. I don't see. Yeah, this is where the iPad 9 would have been. Lightning on the iPad and the home button, I believe, is dead. You probably can't charge the new Pencil Pro on older iPads. I bet the charging area is different to make room for the landscape camera. Ooh, interesting. So if I go to the Apple Pencil section and I hit shop. Oh my God. They're still selling every pencil. Oh, simplicity. Why would the texture glass display only be available on the larger storage sizes? I think it's expensive, so they can only justify it when the margins are good. Yeah, so the Lightning Pencil is still here. Yeah, Apple Pencil USB-C works with pretty much every iPad that has a Type-C port. Apple Pencil 2nd generation is not compatible with the new iPads. Yeah, that's interesting. I like how they don't call the new Air the 6th gen, they call it M2. So if you want a pencil at all with the new M2 Air, you either have to go Type C or you have to go Pro. You can't use your existing 2nd gen. So that might disappoint some people. What's the black dot where the flash used to be? I think it's a microphone. Why did they choose Apple Pencil USB-C and not Apple Pencil Gen 2? Yeah, they must have changed something with the connector. I don't believe the charging system for the Apple Pencil Pro is the same as the connector for Apple Pencil 2. So that's going to annoy some people for sure. Someone's going to get the wrong pencil. Yeah, they're going to think it's compatible and they're going to put it on and it won't work and it'll annoy everybody. So if you already have an Apple Pencil with your iPad Mini 6 and then you want to switch to the iPad Air, you'll also have to buy a whole new pencil. Will I get an iPad now? Nothing today particularly made me go, oh, I need that. But I might wait for Dub Dub. The only thing is like, oh my god, this chart is getting so confusing. The black dot is LiDAR. Well, there's 2 black dots, right? Let me see this new page here. This is LiDAR. That's the microphone. Don't know what that is. Yeah, there's no more ultra wide camera. Oh, they call it. So, yeah, I guess that's the same as before. Ray tracing, rocket ship. They always have these hilarious slogans. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to buy it and miss out on all of the changes that come at Dub Dub. So I would feel weird about buying it now and then because I doubt I would keep it. So if I'm gonna review it, I probably want to make sure it has all the features. But the new keyboard looks cool. I'm glad they didn't increase the price. It's the same price as before. Oh, but compatibility, that was a big question I had. We gotta see, these are the things they don't answer us. M3 had ray tracing. Yeah, I know. They were either gonna put the M3 or the M4. They got the M4. There's no change in resolution. I don't think there's any change in the screen size. That's purely a marketing decision for them to say it's 13 inches. They're just rounding up instead of saying 12.9, which they've done before. You know, they called it a 24-inch iMac. We all call it the 24-inch iMac, even though it's like 23.5 inches. Keyboards. Yeah, so part of it is aluminum, I guess. Maybe the top part. Compatibility. iPad Pro. Okay, the older generations. This is good. This is good. Okay. So it's the same compatibility. You can buy this new keyboard case for your old iPads. And it should still fit, which is good. Magic Keyboard Folio sucks. But I guess it did have the function keys. Or, function keys. Hasael super chatted. Sucks the bezels aren't thinner. They say it's because your hand needs somewhere to rest, but iPhones have great touch detection, so I don't believe that. Well, you don't hold your iPhone like this. An iPad you hold with, your palms. An iPhone you hold with your fingers. So, yeah, I understand people wanted thinner bezels. I personally was not anticipating the bezels to shrink that much. Mainly because the dimensions had leaked, and the dimensions said that the screen size was the same, and it wasn't getting shorter. That's the old keyboard. They're not compatible. What? This is not the old keyboard. I'm looking right at it. Oh, I see. I was talking about the Air. So the old, I meant to say the old Magic Keyboard is compatible with the new Airs. My bad. This does suck. The new Magic Keyboard is only compatible with the Pros? But why? Why can't you use these on the Air? Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro is now different than Magic Keyboard for iPad Air? What? Never mind. Okay, I did misunderstand. Function row. So if you have an Air, you don't get the function keys. What's the restricting element here? Is it designed for the thinner design? Is that what it is? 14 function keys, although they don't have any F numbers on them. Apple Pencil Pro is compatible with Apple Vision Pro. I didn't see that anywhere. Did you? I think that's a lie. Otherwise, it would have shown up in the compatibility. Yeah, it's not there. There's Apple Pro second gen. Apple. They're still every Apple Pencil is still being sold. Boy, why would they? How have they made the iPad worse? I don't think they've been made worse. It's a nice looking keyboard case, but it's a shame that it only works with the Pros. But I guess the top piece is metal and the trackpad is larger with a haptic engine now. Where does it say Apple Pencil is compatible? No, it doesn't. I think people are lying in the chat. They're saying it's like a Mac, but we're not going to integrate iPadOS to macOS, and I can't use the iPad with Vision Pro. Honestly, though, if they were going to allow dual boot macOS, they would probably offer that. They would announce that in June at DubDub. They probably wouldn't announce it today. Further AI features are going in my prediction. Apple's AI will be more of an enhanced assistant for feature. New iPad wallpapers say Air and Pro in the design. Yeah, they've been doing that for a while, haven't they? Air? Where does it say Air? I'm trying to... This is the weirdest, most vague wallpaper ever. Oh, yeah. P, R, and O. Got it. Yeah, okay. Cute. It's darker colors, so it's more epic. Yeah, I can... The lack of promotion is probably going to annoy people with the Air. Still no Face ID. It's funny that nano texture only works on the 1 terabyte. Okay. iPad Pro models with 1 terabyte storage feature the Apple M4 chip with a 10 core. Oh, I didn't catch that. Okay. See, this is why I do this. This is why I don't jump right into the recap video, because you usually miss a bunch of things if you just watch the event. I like that they still didn't move the logo. I feel like if you moved the camera, you should probably move... I like how they don't identify where the camera is on this chart because they know it would be off-center. Oh, no, it's over here. They show you where everything is in portrait mode, even though these are landscape, because they don't want to draw attention to the fact that this landscape camera is off-center. The cellular is still a thing. Do you recommend upgrading from the Air 5 to the new Air? No, of course not. Oh, my God. I don't know if anybody should be upgrading their iPads, to be honest with you. I believe, yeah, this is the exact same resolution. It's honestly the exact same size display. They're just rounding up to 13 now. Yeah, okay, so this is interesting. They are now they're putting a binned M4 in the base model and a non-binned M4. Oh yeah, 3 performance cores versus 4 performance cores. So even more reason for you to spec up to 1 terabyte and get that nano-textured glass. Interesting. Why can't they have an under-display camera? It's complicated and expensive, and the bezel is not that thin anyway. There's no notch or anything. Video recording. Yeah, I don't think they changed the camera. Maybe I should do a compare. Let me compare. I like how they still call the old ones 12.9. That's really fishy, Apple. These are 12.9 inch. This one is 13 inch, even though they're exactly the same. The camera's having the same color aluminum as the rest of the body might tease the iPhone 16 design. Yeah, but the 16 camera bump isn't square. It's like just 2 lenses. Should I upgrade my iPad Mini 6 now? Should I upgrade to the non-refresh? Honestly, I think the iPad 10 might be kind of worth it to a lot of people now at $350, and I bet you can find it refurbished for even less. Even the RAM is less. 4-speaker audio. Just look at how many similarities are here. But yep, no more ultra-wide camera. 4K ProRes. 16-core neural engine, 16-core neural engine. It went from a 10-core CPU to up to 10-core CPU, but you have to get 1 terabyte. Ultra Retina. That's funny. I wouldn't upgrade to a brand new one, even if your old iPad is broken, personally. But I'm glad they upped the default storage. That was the right call. It got a little lighter, 1.28 pounds versus 1.5. These are the biggest size you can get. It got a little wider, 8.48 instead of 8.46. I wanted to see if my eyes were deceiving me. Are these the same? Yeah, they are. Okay. For some reason in one of the pictures, I was like, did that aspect ratio change? And I was like, nah, that didn't. Center stage landscape ultra wide front camera. Capacity chip. Neural engine. So yeah, 16 gigs of RAM. That's been this way for a while, but in case you forgot, 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte come with 16 gigs of RAM, and if you don't buy the 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, it comes with 8 gigs of RAM. So not exactly new, but yeah, same battery life. Once again, Apple refuses to increase the battery life no matter what. Scissor mechanism, thank God. 14 key, USB-C for pass-through charging. I assume that's the same. There's no more iPad 9 as far as I can tell. It says diagonally it's still 12.9 inches for Pro, but doesn't say that for M4 Pro on the compare page. Oh, God. That's confusing. My guess is if it's the same pixel density and the same resolution, it's the same size. Talk more about comparing this event and releases to the Mini. He won't go into it now because the event did not include them. To the Mini. There's no docking station. Is the battery life bad? No, it's just annoying that it hasn't changed. You'd think after 14 years they could increase the battery life of an iPad at least a little bit, but no. Does the 13-inch Air get a new keyboard? No. Both iPad Airs that came out today have to use the old keyboard, which is a little weird and annoying. Because the iPad 10 gets function keys with the Magic Keyboard Folio. The new iPad Pro gets the function keys, but with the iPad Air, yeah, you do not get function keys. You have to buy the old keyboard. Half the power consumption compared to M2. Does that mean battery life will double? No, because they shrunk the battery. That's how they got it so thin. They got it so thin by reducing the battery capacity. So at least on the compare page, it says battery life is the same. There's no change to battery life. It's a less confusing lineup than it used to be, at least. Thank God the iPad 9 is finally dead. Whew. Yeah, I think it's the same bezel size. I don't think they talked about. They would have mentioned it if the bezels were thinner because there's not a lot to mention anyway. So, same size bezel, which I know a lot of people were predicting it would shrink, but I was like, nah, Apple likes that size for the fingers to rest. They shrunk the battery? Probably. We don't know. They don't put the physical capacities, but if the chip uses half the power and they claim the battery life is the same, then I think the most logical conclusion is they shrunk the size of the battery. Different resolutions on 12.9 and 13. Oh, there is? Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just deceptive that they're saying 13-inch. Okay, measured diagonally as a rectangle. The 13-inch iPad Air is 12.9 inches. Actual viewable area is less. So it doesn't say that here. So let's compare the resolutions. Thanks for writing that so I didn't miss it. Okay, it's ever so slightly. It went from 2732 by 2048 to 2752 by 2064. Okay, so technically the 13-inch iPad Pro is actually a little bit bigger. It's a little bit larger display, but very, very small improvement. Let's compare it to the last gen iPad Pro. Yeah, last gen iPad Pro. It got a tiny bit higher resolution, but I don't think it would be very noticeable. So again, the Pros have slightly thinner bezels, which is funny because they use this black wallpaper, so you can't even tell. Seems like a good upgrade. It's hard that they need to make the iPad artificially weaker to not affect Mac sales. I know, right? Who told you they would get micro OLED? I don't recall anyone claiming they would get micro OLED. What was it about them using graphene sheets? Does that mean the iPad is going to be getting hotter when using it? Maybe, but if you're using it with a keyboard case, you're not going to notice, right? Yeah, no ProMotion on the Air, which was sadly what the rumors were saying, so the rumors were correct. Someone said the folio covers were back. Smart folio for iPad. Oh, they are. Look at that. Sage. We know Randy's got to buy it. So does it just connect to the... No, okay, it connects to the back as well. That's not exactly a smart cover. A smart folio, because it snaps onto the back. I think that was there before, actually. I mean, it's new because it's for the iPad Air, I guess. New colors. But, yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anything else I missed? What are the bullet points? Why didn't the Air get the M3 chip? Money. Polishing cloth, I think, is only included if you get the nano texture. Or does it come with every Pro? That's a good question. So if I go 256 gig and get standard glass, does it come with a polishing cloth? No, it doesn't. Okay, so that answers that question. If you spec it up to a terabyte, then get the nano textured glass, this change impacts your delivery. Okay. They increased the price by 200. Yeah, we all thought. I thought it might go up more, honestly. I'm surprised that it only went up 200. But it went from an LCD panel to an OLED panel, which is a pretty massive jump in cost of manufacturing. Width of pencil versus width of iPad. Oh, yeah, is the pencil thicker now? The pencil will stick out. Yeah, I like that it comes with a black USB-C cable. That's cool. I would definitely get Space Black. So you spec up nano textured glass, and then polishing cloth is included. I wonder where they put that in the box. Do they have to package it separately? Color match Type-C cable, which is another way of saying if you get the black one, it comes with a black cable because it's a white cable anyway with the silver. Right? All right. $1,300. So that is a price hike, a pretty big price hike for the 13-inch. Another $200. How high can an iPad go now? I'm curious. Nano textured adds $100. And you have to get more storage. And we want 5G, of course. And of course, I want the Apple Pencil Pro. And of course, I want the new keyboard. I kind of like the look of the black one, honestly. So $350 for the keyboard. Oh, what is that? Apple, don't show that. Oh, the trade-in. Yeah, we're not doing a trade-in, of course. Oh, just over $3,000. I think you could do that before. I think the higher storage options have gotten a little bit cheaper. I can't remember what they were before. But I remember in the past speccing up, like maxing out the iPad and selecting all the options and it getting over 3,000. And now it's about right at 3,000. Interesting. I want to see your reaction to a fully spec'd out iPad Pro with the key. Yeah, I just did it. 3,000 is about what it was before, I feel like. Maybe I'm misremembering. Yeah, it's very expensive for an iPad, absolutely. Don't buy it. It's not worth it. Perfect for high-end color-managed workflows. The most demanding ambient light. It's interesting that the nano textured glass is storage locked, though. Oh yeah, we got to get Apple Care. I forgot. I didn't see the option. It's not here. Maybe that's why I didn't see it. Oh, it's down here. So if we add Apple Care, $170. Portable XDR display is nice. Yeah, we'll get pretty bright. I mean, it gets Not as bright as our phones, but it's a big screen that gets bright. And delivery dates. This one is already pushed out to June. I think the nano textured glass ones are delayed, from what I can tell. So you won't get this till dub anyway. With how inflation has been for the last few years, the price increases are seemingly reasonable. Just get a Mac though, unless you're an artist. Yeah, if you don't use an Apple Pencil, it's very hard to justify. Um, my guess is they will pack it with documents. Do I think the aluminum keyboard will scratch the glass display? No. They probably thought of that. I would like to think they've thought of that, but new fear unlocked. Where's the keyboard case here? They probably have a seal somewhere that it rests on. I imagine they found a way to protect it. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't really see much of a seal. Real world uses, but we'll figure that out. But usually they test that kind of thing. I guess there's no learn more, right? We just hit order now. That logo's sideways, but the iPad logo is still portrait. Only, oh yeah, is this one backwards compatible? No. Only works with the new iPad. Darn. Is the outside still the weird rubber material? Yeah, it's definitely a mesh. It's not all metal. They said the palm rests, I believe, are aluminum. So I think that's top layer is metal. But there's got to be a seal somewhere. You can't put the glass of the iPad directly on that metal. That would be bad. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they... I really don't see a seal there, which is kind of concerning. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they thought of that, but I don't know how they alleviated that. It might be very thin. It might be a very thin seal, and it's just not showing up very well in the pictures. It says height and width are larger on M4 and M2, so maybe bezels aren't thinner. Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that. The display is bigger, but if it got a little wider. The gasket for the iPad keyboard is sold separately. MacBook glass goes on metal and there's no problem. No, MacBook has a seal. If you look at any MacBook Pro or Air, there's a rubber seal. It's called the gasket that goes around the bezel. You can feel it if you guys are using a Mac right now. That stops the glass from going straight against the metal. iPads don't have that because they're a touch display. So we're trying to figure out exactly how you avoid scratching the screen. I think maybe it's right there. There might be a little gasket that goes around the keyboard. Yep, I think that's it. It's not around the perimeter of the keyboard case, but right here, I think that's a little rubberized gasket. Yeah, Alan is correct, I believe. Of course, they wouldn't put the glass straight on the middle. I have the first gen iPad Pro, and this is the update I've been looking out for. Can't wait to buy it. Ooh, my apologies to your wallet. Yeah, it surrounds the keyboard. Okay, that mystery solved. It might still be a little close because it's not around the perimeter of the display. So if you close it too hard, it might flex it down a little bit. I mean, thinnest Apple product ever. That's pretty nuts. Okay. What's the price for Air 13-inch be in Europe? I don't go to the website. I don't have the European prices in front of me. The battery life is the same, yes. Whew. Why didn't they put Vision Pro camera on iPad Pro? What Vision Pro camera? It's got LiDAR. Interesting that they actually got rid of the dual camera though. So now no iPad has two cameras in the lineup. So glad they reduced the price on the budget iPad. So glad. $350 is perfectly reasonable. Just don't get the Lightning Apple Pencil. Just kill that off. Just buy the XM5. Is there a new folio cover for the new iPad Pro? I didn't see one for the Pro, actually. I saw one for the Air. I think it's a new color. But, oh yeah, the new Pro is a different, like, dimension, though. So the old smart folio covers probably won't work. Will they? Oh, no. Smart folio for iPad Pro 11-inch. So there you go. There's denim, black, or white. Wow, you do not get colors if you're a pro. Um, let's see compatibility. Yeah, only works with the new iPad. So this thinner design is really killing their backwards compatibility. You cannot use the old Magic Keyboard cases with the new iPad Pro. And I don't know. I mean, physically they might fit. That would be an interesting question. The new iPad Pro doesn't support Apple Pencil 2 either. No, it doesn't. They've changed the physical connection on how it docks and charges. So it might magnetically fit, but it won't actually pair, which is going to be very confusing and annoying. I feel very bad. I feel very bad for the employees, is what I meant to say. Um, why a small increase in screen caused $300 increase? It's not the size of the screen; it's the type of screen. Also, it's not $300 increase here. At least it's 200. But going from dual stacked OLEDs from an LCD is a big price jump. You cannot take spatial video because you need 2 cameras to do that. And all iPads now just have one rear-facing camera. That is all. Landscape cameras across the board now, except for the Mini, which is fine because most people use the Mini in portrait probably. When will the unboxing videos come out? Probably next week. What did it say? Available. Will the new iPad Pro work with my old Magic Keyboard? According to Apple, no. It's a different discussion if you physically try to put it there, but Apple says that at least on Apple's own compare page, they say that the new iPad Pros with M4 are technically a little bit wider and a little bit taller than the last generation iPad Pro. They still have a smart connector in around the same place, so it might physically fit, but I don't know if it'll actually pair and start working. On Apple's site, they're saying it won't. Yeah, see, height went up a little bit, width went up a little bit. It got thinner, but it got wider and taller. So that might throw off your old Magic Keyboard cases. And yes, finally, all the iPads are Type-C. Hallelujah. I meant from Pro 11-inch to Pro 13-inch is a 3. Well, OLED displays are not cheap. So it's yeah, I guess it is kind of a wide price gap between the Pros. But I mean, it's very thin, I guess. I don't know why they still up at $300. I guess the $300 gap made sense when one was mini LED and one wasn't, but now there's honestly not very many differences between the two. I think they both have the same chip. Maybe the 13-inch has better speakers? I don't know. Yeah, I guess they're not that different anymore. I don't see anything saying like this is only on the 13-inch model. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess the larger OLED panels are more expensive. Entry iPad Pro with 3 performance cores. Yeah, we talked about that. Is there a chance you might keep the iPad? Highly unlikely. I love my MacBook Pro, and I'm just basically scraping the bottom of the barrel to figure out, can this iPad do a fraction of what my Mac that I already own can do? So, no, nothing today won me over to the iPad, but I have accepted and just decided I'm the Mac guy. iPads aren't for me, so I'm still willing to cover it and talk about it for the people that need an Apple Pencil for whatever reason. This is stupid, though. I don't like that they're doing this. Measure diagonally. It's actually 12.9. It's like, just say 12.9. It's expensive for middle-class family. Yeah. Apple knows that. But they make a lot of money from the upper-class family, so that's why they're serving them. Apple Pencil Pro is thicker than the new iPad Pro. Hopefully it won't pop off when laying flat. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. In fact, the new iPad Pros are so thin you can put the pencil on it, and when you rest it on a table, the pencil might pop off. No Wi-Fi 7. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Wi-Fi 7 you'd think would be ready for the M4 chip. I'm just glad there will not be any more... there won't be any M4 variants that have 128 gigs of storage, because Apple made a special M1 chip just for the iPad Air to be 64 gigs. No, the bezels aren't smaller. The iPad's just a little bigger all the way around. It's a little taller, it's a little wider, but it is thinner. So the M2 Air 11-inch smaller than M4 11-inch Pro? Yeah, just a tiny bit. You probably wouldn't notice in person, but yeah, I believe dimension-wise. Let's switch it. 11-inch M4, 11-inch Air. Yeah, once again, it's still a 10 point. It's actually 10.86, and they're rounding up to 11. Jeez. The deceptive marketing. Yikes. All Wi-Fi 6E, but yeah, landscape stereo speakers versus 4-speaker audio. Ooh, better studio quality microphones, I guess. Let me compare that to the last gen. Did they say that? Oh, they had more. Oh my god, it got worse. On the last iPad Pro 11-inch, they said 5 studio quality microphones. Now it's 4 microphones. Will we notice? Probably not. Yeah, Jerry's gonna break it. But if we come down here, tandem OLED. Yeah. Oh, I missed it here. So yeah, 11-inch iPad Pro is a little bit taller. It's a little bit narrower on the width. Oh, that's interesting. So the Air is wider. Weird. But what's funny is the iPad Air is not. Well, I guess it never was the lightest iPad. Can you talk about the camera? They cut the wide camera and add a weird black dot without explaining what it is. Yeah, that is confusing. I'm still looking for answers. Maybe I should check Twitter. There's probably highlights people are pointing out there too. First ever foldable device. Find My on the Apple Pencil. Oh, it's eSIM only. I missed that. iPad is half the thickness of the pencil. Yikes. Yeah, most people are probably going to use a case, right? Deceptive marketing. Nano texture glass is only $100 extra. People are saying LiDAR Mini. Could it be an ambient light sensor? Color grading accuracy. Another microphone? No, probably not. That's the mic. I doubt that they reduced it to 4 instead of... Oh, it's a new calculator app. It's a button that launches macOS. Flood illuminator. Interesting. Infrared sensor. Okay. Isn't it a downgrade to remove the wide-angle camera? Yeah, kind of, but the ultra-wide wasn't very good. It was a very old... It was the same sensor from the iPhone 11. They hadn't changed it since 2019. The flashlight sensor. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. It's weird that they didn't talk about it. The iPad Pro now weighs less than an iPad Air. That's funny. Still no MagSafe. Hopefully we're done with that. This event has me excited for M4 MacBook Pros, hopefully with the OLED screens from the iPad Pros. I want an excuse to upgrade my... You just want to burn your money, huh? That's going to be a fun thing to test. Battery life. Here's what to expect. It's exactly the same. Yeah, no Face ID on the Airs. When can we expect new redesigned MacBook Pros? Not this year. We might get an M4 chip in them, but there's not MacBook Pro redesigns very often, and we got one a couple of years ago. So the calculator app was rumored to launch in June, not May. So Space Black is cool, but not as black as it looks on the website, for the record. No longer has a completely useless ultra-wide camera. It has a completely useless dot. Here comes the ultra-wide people. All right. What's the back camera equivalent of iPad Pro to iPhone? I think it's the same camera as like an iPhone 12 or something. It's not a new camera. I think it's the exact same camera, just without the ultra-wide. No millimeter wave radio. I think that's the same. Did they put millimeter wave on the 5G iPads before? Any info on the new keyboard weights? Let me double check. I guess there's no compare page. So this is the new keyboard. Does it say the weight? I don't think it says the weight anywhere. Yeah, I guess I do not know. They do not list the weight. Okay. What was the other thing we were going to ask about? Black dot is LiDAR. No, the other black dot. There's two black dots. One of them is LiDAR. There's another one that we don't understand what it does. The older one had millimeter wave. Interesting. Let me confirm that. They probably realized no one's using it. They both say 5G cellular. So where did you see that? Oh, yeah, you're right. Nice catch. Okay, so old iPad Pro had millimeter wave. New iPad Pro does not. Okay. Yeah, it was. I never recommend buying cellular. It's funny that they still have Wi-Fi 6E though. Okay, I think we're ready. I don't think the Magic Keyboard has Force Touch, no, but they did say they put a haptic engine in it, which is kind of cool, considering there's no price hike. What kind of material is the new Magic Keyboard? It's a hybrid. So the part where you rest your palms is metal, and the trackpad is metal, but the rest of it I think is still that fabricy, oily material. Is the iPad Air screen mini LED? No, it's still LCD. I think we're ready to start recording though, guys. So I'm going to switch over here. M3 for iPad mini. Don't think so. Is the new iPad Pro similar design to a 15 Pro? Not really. It's different materials. I mean, they're both flat edged, but I don't think they rounded off the edges. It looks like the same squared off edge. My iPad overheating already. At the bottom of compare, it says iPad Pro M4 11.1, M4 13 and Air 12.9, 12, but 11-inch Air seems to be marketing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't change the size of the Air displays. They're just old displays. Is the new Apple Pencil Pro not compatible with the M1 Pro? No, it's not. Boy, these are all the questions. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to need my phone. Hold on. Let me switch. Where's my ultra-wide camera, Tim? That might make a good skit. I always get calculator. It has a GPS. Oh, you always get cellular as it has a GPS chip. I do not use it for internet. That's weird. I didn't know that software locked that. But why is the GPS so helpful? Don't expect anything new with iPad mini. I'm surprised they didn't just throw a new chip in the iPad mini, honestly. It would have been probably cheap and easy. And M4 faster than M3? Apparently, they said it's like way faster or something. We'll see if the real world tests come out, but we got a lot of, it's up to this much faster. Up to, it's like, okay, what does that mean? The chip is probably up to that, but will the super thin iPad let it get that fast, or will they throttle the performance to preserve battery life? Knowing Apple and how thin the new iPad is, it's probably going to be pretty thermally constrained. It's just funny that the iPads are getting chips before the Mac, and they can't do much with them, in my opinion. But the gyro on the new pencil is cool, I got to admit. The fact that you can rotate it to angle your brush with the hover feature and everything. That's neat. I'm going to set everything up. Got to get a new Magic Keyboard. Yeah, you can't use... Apparently, according to Apple, we'll see if the real world performs differently, but they're saying that you can't use your old Magic Keyboard case with... I should take my AirPods out, huh? This is... Normally, I lose them, but... Maybe my ear has adjusted to the pros. Oh, that's better. Okay. Everybody sit tight, because we are officially entering behind the scenes mode. So because I'm going to be busy and filming and stuff, I'm intentionally going to turn off the chat for non-channel members. So if the chat was the only reason you were here, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all your guys' super chats and support. God of Conquest, thank you for the last super chat. Pouring river water. Matte screen only on 1 terabyte or bigger. I think it's a margin thing. It's too expensive, and it was if they offered it on the cheapest option, it would probably be like a $500 option. It costs Apple like nothing to put in a 1 terabyte NAND, but it doesn't cost them nothing to put in the nano textured glass. So, um, the new keyboard is backwards compatible. I don't believe that's true, at least according to Apple's website. You just have to make sure you're looking at the right keyboard because they still have the old keyboard there. So don't make the mistake I made. But yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it says compatible with the M4 iPads only. What about now? You're gonna watch me cook. Hey, Randy. By the way, you can still watch this. I believe. I think the moderators should still have access, but I'm switching the chat over. So Randy, when you see me like wrapping up editing, that means I'm almost done. So we're gonna try to see if we can do a tech podcast after this. Is according to the manufacturer's note on the store. I think you're looking at the wrong iPad. Personally, I think you're looking at the old Magic Keyboard. Because in compatibility, it still just says M4 iPad. You should have a warning in checkout. Less battery equals less weight, so they can say thinnest and lightest and then rely on efficiency of M4. Yeah, pretty much. All right. I got to start recording, guys. I've already wasted enough time reading all the fine print. So here we go. Switching over to members only mode. 3, 2, 1. This kit we're downgrading. Your Mac with less cameras. All right. We have now reached the elitist chat. 12.9 inch screen better than new iPad Air. Yes, that's correct. How is Louise? And she's doing well. Thanks for asking. But I'm very busy at the moment. We got to start recording this thing. All right, recap incoming. Let me set up the phone. That new camera app looked really cool. And that's not even for the iPad. I could put that on my phone. I might try out Apple's what did they call it? I already forgot. The freaking Final Cut Capture. Someone who's not a channel member is like, Drew, it's called this, but you won't let me write it. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be able to catch up with the chat anyway. I'm just surprised that the pro apps are getting numbers now. Final Cut 2. It's like, oh, we got to work our way up to Final Cut 10. Got it. All right. Let me get this camera into position here. Switch the mic on. Thank you, USB-C. Okay. Switch. Trying to think. Oh my God, we got so many things to talk about, and yet not a lot of things to talk about. Somehow, it's a mixture. Make sure that's centered. Okay, I'll be here. Yeah, I think I want to do the downgrading thing, skid. Okay. Take care, all. The new camera app. What about Logic Protein? The Ultra Jet. It's competing with the Blackmagic camera app. Whatever it's called. If you guys find the name, write it in the chat, because when I'm in the middle of filming, I might refer to you guys like, what was that app called? What was the app called that will be on iPhone and iPad for cameras? Yeah, it's probably the software stuff ain't ready like usual. Okay. I think we're good to go. Everyone sit tight, and I'll chat with you more when we're done filming. Oh, I'm gonna try to keep this concise, but there's so many little details of like, okay, remember, these things aren't compatible, these things aren't compatible. Maybe I'll get those out of the way early on in the video. All right, here we go. These are the best iPad Pros we've ever created. Good morning. What happened to the ultra-wide camera? Oh, well, you know, we decided to get rid of that. We didn't need that anymore, so. Do they still have millimeter wave 5G? No. We decided to remove that, even though we love 5G. Does it at least work with my last Magic Keyboard case? No, because of the thinner size, none of your old iPad accessories will work on. No, because of the new thinner size, it's the thinnest product we've ever made. None of your old iPad accessories will work with the new Pro. But my Apple Pencil will still work, right? No, you'll have to buy the new and improved Apple Pencil Pro. Oh, God. Well, are the storage size. Oh, God. Well, are the prices the same? No, there's a price hike as well, but we did introduce a nano textured glass option. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds cool. How much is it? It starts at $1,700. Fix. I hurt my shoulder. I think we're. Alright, a pretty well-paced Apple event in my opinion, even if all of the announcements were not exactly what everybody hoped they would be. Like usual, people's expectations were way up here, so a lot of them were let down. I was pleasantly surprised, especially by the pricing. I thought a lot of the pricing today was pretty reasonable. But the one thing I want to get out of the way from the beginning of today's announcements is the compatibility questions, because there is so much fine print attached to all of the new announcements between the new iPad Airs and Pros and the new keyboard cases and Pencil that launched with them. So, first of all, the Apple Pencil Pro, which now has pressure sensitivity, the haptic engine, and probably the coolest underrated feature that thankfully wasn't leaked or anything, is you can actually rotate it to like switch between options, but also for like, you know, non-symmetrical paintbrush effects, you can kind of hover it over the display and know exactly which direction the paintbrush is moving before you actually start drawing. So that's cool. But that new Apple Pencil Pro, which is the same price as Apple Pencil 2 at just $129, that only works with today's announced iPads. You need an iPad Air with the M2 chip or an iPad Pro with the M4 chip, because I'm pretty confident Apple has specifically changed the inductive charging method in which the Apple Pencil Pro pairs with the new iPads, which sadly means for all of you who have an Apple Pencil 2nd Gen already for your iPad minis or your older iPad Pros or your iPad Airs, yeah, the Apple Pencil 2 does not work with the new iPads that just came out. So if you're hoping, I'll just go out and upgrade my iPad, your old Pencil is probably not going to work with these. At least that's what Apple's website is claiming. If something changes, I'll keep you posted. But as of right now, I'm pretty confident that Apple has had to change the inductive charging method for the Pencil, specifically so that they could move the camera on both the new iPad Airs and Pros to the landscape orientation. And if you pay really close attention, Apple actually did exactly what I suggested back when the iPad 10 dropped support for the Apple Pencil 2, because they wanted that camera on the landscape side, I guess because it's more Mac-like or something. I told them you can still put the charging connector there, just move the webcam over a little bit, and it looks like that's actually exactly what they did. They're trying to hide it because it's kind of asymmetrical, but yeah, the camera is not quite centered. It's just a little bit off, just so they can make room for that Apple Pencil connecting, just so they can make room for that new and improved, I guess, Apple Pencil charging method. But yes, it is definitely a big bummer that all of your old Apple Pencil 2s aren't going to work with any of the iPads they launch, any of the new. But yes, it's absolutely a big bummer that the new. But yes, but yes, the. But yes, it's definitely a bummer that all of our old Apple Pencil 2s are not going to work with any of the new iPads that launch today. Sorry. Also, there's a lot of confusion with the new Magic Keyboard cases as well. So the good news is the new iPad Airs are compatible with the old Magic Keyboard cases. So you shouldn't have to buy a new keyboard case if you already had one optimized for, 11 inch or 13 inches. But the bad news is the iPad Pros require new keyboard cases because, as Apple said, these are the thinnest products they've ever made. The 13-inch iPad Pro is the 13-inch iPad Pro is basically like the 13-inch iPad Pro is 5.1 millimeters thin. It's just absurd. Jerry Rig Everything is gonna love this thing. It's gonna make him a lot of money, but because of this new thinner design, and also it's slightly wider, it's slightly taller. I don't think there's thinner bezels, but the screen size technically did go up a little bit on the 13-inch iPad Pro. And because of those dimension changes, Apple's website, at least, is claiming that these new iPad Pros will not work with any old keyboard case. You need all new folio covers, you need all new Magic Keyboard cases, which they did refresh. And while it's annoying that you have to buy all new ones, I am grateful that they're the exact same price as before, and they're better than before, because now Apple has put an aluminum cover on top of the keyboard, so where you rest your palms, at least, is going to feel metal, just like a MacBook. The trackpad got a little bit bigger and now has haptic touch, so it's not that cheap physical clicky button that we had on our old keyboard cases. So it should feel a bit more premium, and it costs the same as the last generation, but yeah, definitely a bummer that the new iPad Pros are not going to work with the old keyboard cases that many of us spent $300 plus on easily. So iPad Airs, but Apple decided to throw in the function keys just like the iPad 10 keyboard had. But I guess if you want to use an iPad Air, no function keys for you. You got to go with the iPad 10 or you got to go with the iPad Pro if you want function keys, which is a little weird, but at least Apple has finally today killed off the iPad 9, so there is officially no more new iPads with home buttons and lightning ports. The USB-C transition has completed amongst the iPad lineup. And thankfully, they have reduced the price of the iPad 10 to $349. An amazing value, in my opinion. Far better price. I always thought $450 was way too high for an iPad without a laminated display. And I hated the fact that it wasn't compatible with the new Apple Pencil, but then they launched the $80 USB-C Apple Pencil, and I think Apple has, for the most part, kind of fixed all of my complaints with the iPad 10. Having a pencil that connects with the included cable that, came with the box of your iPad so that you can plug it in and charge it and you don't have to use some stupid adapter to get a lightning pencil connected to it. That's been fixed, and again, now the price is more reasonable. So I'm happy with the iPad lineup now. I just wish the iPad mini would have gotten some love because it didn't get anything new today. The iPad Airs, which now come in multiple sizes, I think are somewhat interesting because at least the price didn't go up and they doubled up the storage. So now they both start at 128 gig. And yes, there is now a larger size option, but the marketing of them just puts a really foul taste in my mouth. So yeah, there is a bigger iPad Air now that starts at $799. Technically, you've never been able to buy a new iPad with a display this big for that cheap, so that's good. My annoyance, though, is that Apple keeps claiming that these are now 11-inch and 13-inch iPad Airs, even though in the tech specs it says actually we're rounding up a little bit. The actual display resolution and size is the same as previous generation iPads. The screens are not bigger than before. But Apple is using marketing, and they don't even bring up this change in marketing in the compare pages to create the illusion that the new iPad Air has a slightly larger display than the last generation, when in reality it's the exact same display size, exact same bezels, exact same dimensions. So that's just a little weird. Apple, don't try to play games with us like that. It's a bit more justified, at least on the iPad Pros, because with this switch to Ultra Retina XDR, yes, just when I thought Apple was out of display names, they pulled another name out of their hat. Those displays did technically get a little bit bigger, although it did not result in the bezels shrinking because, like I said, the new iPad Pros are a little bit taller and a little bit wider than their previous generation versions, but they get to call it 13 inches because they're not exactly rounding up anymore. That one seems more fair to me to describe, but yeah, anyway, dual stack OLED displays, tandem OLED as Apple is calling them, has finally made their way to the iPad Pro. This means even for typical everyday usage, they can hit 1,000 nits and they can still hit 1,600 nits for HDR content. Of course, the landscape camera. And as I mentioned in the skit, they've done some weird things with them to kind of, I don't know, probably keep the price down because I imagine these two, I don't know, probably keep the price down because these dual OLED panels are likely very, very pricey. So they took out the ultra wide lens. Yeah, there's no more dual camera on the iPad Pro. No one really saw that coming. There's a LiDAR scanner still. It's funny that Apple thought LiDAR was more important than the ultra wide lens because I know a lot of people kind of like those ultra wide lenses, but they were very old. The ones they were using were from the iPhone 11. And there's not a new rear facing camera. It's not like they improved that in any way. But there's also just this extra black dot that's not the LiDAR scanner and it's not the microphone. So we're not exactly sure what it is. Some people think it could be a flood illuminator or an infrared sensor that helps with the new adaptive flash that's supposed to make document scanning better. So Apple doesn't seem to want to double down on putting like an amazing, iPhone 15 level camera sensor in the iPad Pro, but they did say they improved the amount of graphite in the enclosure and increase the amount of copper in the Apple logo. And apparently that means these new chassis, even though they're razor thin, should improve the thermal performance of the iPad Pro, which is good because, yes, today Apple unveiled the M4 chip. And unlike kind of what I was expecting, wasn't really doubling down too much on it being an AI-focused chip, which was what was kind of rumored. No, they're saying that this new second generation 3 nanometer architecture is supposed to result in performance enhancements above the M3 across the board. They're saying much better CPU performance, much better GPU performance. We'll see if these 5mm computers actually let us hit the overhead that the M4 is capable of reaching. I'm guessing it probably won't. But yeah, I am just even more perplexed now. If you had this next generation 3 nanometer architecture, why didn't you just wait a couple of months to refresh? Why didn't you just wait a couple of months to refresh the MacBook Airs, which launched just a couple of months ago with the M3? You could have probably waited a minute and just put the M4s on those so that they're a little bit more up to date. Sorry to everybody who bought an M3 Air. I guess your chip is outdated already. But the awkward thing, I have to admit, about the iPad Pros being this absurdly thin is the fact that the Apple Pencil is now about twice the thickness of an iPad Pro. So a lot of people are rightfully concerned that if you're using the iPad without a case, like with a pencil for drawing or note taking, if you lay it flat on a table, is it just going to pop the pencil right off? That's going to get annoying very fast. And also, the price of these new iPad Pros is going to be difficult to stomach for a lot of people because, yes, now both sizes are getting new display technology, which is cool, but both of them got $200 price increases, which for the 11-inch is a bit understandable because they were going from a LCD display to a very advanced, dual stack OLED panel. There's not a lot of tablets that have these kind of display specifications these days. So that one's starting at $1,000 now, and luckily they upped the storage to 256 gig for both pros. So I'm glad they did that at least. But $1,000 for the 11 inch is understandable, but $1,300 for the 13-inch iPad Pro, that one's actually kind of difficult to justify now. It's the same price gap as before, but before the 12.9-inch iPad Pro had mini LED and the 11-inch did not. So I think a lot of people justified it in their heads as, okay, it's the bigger iPad, but it has this much more advanced XDR display, so that's what you're paying for. Now both the iPads have this XDR display, so is it really worth an extra $300 for a 2-inch larger screen? I guess some people really want the biggest iPad they can, and Apple's probably trying to justify that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the difference in margins between these products are quite different. Like, I bet the margins on the entry-level 11-inch iPad Pro are pretty thin relative to the other larger iPads with more storage options, which brings me to one of the weirdest things about the iPad Pro lineup is how many feature locks they've put regarding to your storage configuration, more than ever before. So some things aren't new, like the old iPad Pros that are now going out, they had for a while restricted 16 gigs of unified memory to the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte storage models. So if you didn't opt for 1 or 2 terabytes, you were left with 8 gigs of unified memory. That's still the same situation here, but Apple's new nano-textured glass option, which is now coming with the iPad Pros, you have to buy 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes of storage to get the nano-textured glass. That's very weird, but my guess is the nano-textured glass is quite expensive. I mean, it's usually a couple $100 extra on a Pro display or a Studio display. So to do it at scale and to do it on a touchscreen that's going to be interacting with an Apple Pencil and everything, yeah, that's probably a bit complicated to do at scale. So it's not that the nano textured glass like needs a terabyte of storage or something. I think the main thing is, it doesn't cost Apple hardly anything to put a terabyte in an iPad versus putting in 256 gigs. Apple spreads out the prices, of course, between those NANDs to distribute the margins so that they can price one way lower and one way higher. But the bill of materials, like the actual difference in the NAND price, is probably a couple of bucks. So I think Apple's justifying this by saying, our margins are really, really good on the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte models because, they charge 1,600, 1,700 plus bucks for those models. So if you're spending that much on an iPad, then the nano textured glass being an extra $100 is, I guess, more digestible for them. They clearly don't want everybody speccing it for this, but yeah, definitely weird to see the iPad have so many feature differences between the different storage options. And it extends to the silicon now as well. This is a first for the iPad Pro line that I haven't seen before. If you don't get 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes of storage, it seems they give you a binned version of the M4 chip that only has 3 performance cores instead of 4. But yeah, if you spec it up to the 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte iPad Pros, you do get the fully unlocked 10-core CPU with 4 performance cores and still, of course, 6 efficiency cores. We've seen them do that with the Mac lineup for a while, but it's just interesting to... We've seen them do that with the Mac lineup for a while, but yeah, you will technically get different CPU performance based on which storage iPad you go with, which is just kind of funny. But hey, if you're really willing to spec up for the nano textured glass, they throw in the polishing cloth, which we all know is invaluable. So everybody, spec it up to 2 terabytes easily. Also, thank God they finally brought a new color option to the iPad Pro, although not that different. It's probably just another coat of paint. It's now space black instead of space gray, which is definitely a welcome change. The iPad Pro colors haven't changed in like a decade. And the cool thing is if you opt for space black, they actually give you a color-matched braided USB-C cable in the box, which I really like. No black power bricks, of course. All power bricks have to be white, just like all Apple Pencils and all AirPods have to be white for some Apple branding thing.
But yeah, overall, I think Apple probably has some more tricks up their sleeve for iPadOS, and we're going to have to wait till Dub to find out what this M4 chip is really capable of doing. I mean, they did they did give us some updates with Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro 2. I'm still not interested in paying a membership for these Pro apps, but apparently now with Final Cut and Apple is also apparently Apple is getting a little bit more interested in Final Cut finally for the iPad, but not by bringing more Mac features over, just trying to bring in more touch optimized stuff, which is kind of neat because they're saying you can pair multiple iPhones now wirelessly to the iPad and switch between them with this multicam view. So there's a new camera app coming to the iPhone with more pro controls too. That was honestly one of the coolest things about this event was, oh hey, even if you don't buy these iPads, you're going to get some new software features. Although I'm not sure if you necessarily need the new iPad Pro with M4 to access those multicam features, but it looked cool to just be able to put up a bunch of iPhones and switch between the multicam view and be editing them in real time. I'm hoping all of the guys on the Tailosive Tech podcast could get our phones together and hopefully do an in-person podcast and we could make it multi-camera with all of our personally owned iPhones, which is just kind of a great, cool idea to just be like, hey, we all showed up to the shoot and now we can all use our phones and have them work together. But I doubt they're able to like stream the actual 4K recordings to the iPad. The recordings probably have to be separate, otherwise the multicam clip is going to be very compressed and not very high frame rate or resolution. So there's much more to play around with that I'm excited to try out later, but overall, I was decently surprised because my expectations were somewhat low. I thought the prices might be a bit higher than they ended up being. I'm glad the iPad 10 got a price reduction and these new keyboard cases. The backwards compatibility thing I think sucks. However, I'm grateful that the price didn't change all that much. And it's certainly a bummer that the iPad Air is still rocking a basic Liquid Retina 60 hertz display. Having 60 hertz on an $800 iPad with a display that big, yeah, that's going to be a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. Although they did at least bring the Apple Pencil hover feature over to the iPad Air, but I'm still convinced that's absolutely a software lock. They could add that to older iPads if they wanted to. They're just choosing not to, which sucks. But I'm glad that Apple was able to make I'm glad that Apple was able to make a well-paced event where things were moving quickly. There was a lot of changes that I wasn't anticipating, like the gyro in the Apple Pencil. That's really cool. The multicam features in Final Cut were great, and doubling up on the storage for both the Airs and the Pros was very welcome. Well, what did you guys think overall? Were you disappointed? Are any of you considering upgrading your iPads now? Don't forget about which cases and pencils are compatible with which. I think a lot of people, honestly, are going to be quite confused with the new Apple Pencil shake-up thing, especially Apple Store employees. People are going to walk in and be like, I have an iPad Pro. Can I... Especially the Apple Store employees. You know, people are going to walk in with their M1, M2 iPad Pros and go, can I buy that Apple Pencil Pro? Sorry, you need to buy a whole new iPad Pro if you want to use the gyro feature with the haptic engine. Or people are going to go out and buy a new M4 iPad Pro, and they're like, wow, the OLED display is great. Let me get my Apple Pencil 2 here, and oh, it doesn't work. I wouldn't even be surprised if the magnets still technically align with it. It just doesn't physically charge and pair, which is frustrating that Apple couldn't find a way to make that cross-compatible. I don't know what the issue is there, but something to do with the repositioned camera and the thickness. I don't know. All your thoughts, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one. 23 minutes. At least the camera didn't stop recording. All right. I usually have issues whenever I try... Oh, thank you, Lord Zero, for signing up with Final Cut Camera app. Thank you. I forgot what the app was called. Overreached with the prices. Yeah, that's good. I would rather overreach than underreach. I'd rather tell people that the prices are going to be bad and then have them not be bad than tell them they're going to be good and then they're not good.
Okay. Every time I try to import or airdrop a video that's over 20 minutes, it fails. So I'm going to import the old-fashioned way with a cable. Maybe the extra core is deactivated on the budget version. It could be, but it's far more likely that they just... Yes. How come every time I plug in my iPhone to my Mac, I have to hit trust and enter a passcode? You're both unlocked and you're signed into the same Apple ID. Like, make it work. OLED tandem style. Tandem style. There's all these amazing announcements, and I just know for a fact that somehow Marquez is going to recap all of it in 5 minutes and somehow not miss any details. And I'm going to go, how did he do that? Well, he didn't put a skit in it, Drew. That's how. Okay. Import. I still hate the wired import process. It's so clunky. You got to wait for this to finish loading, even though it's already plugged in. Oh, stop. You don't need to start a recording. You're just going to confuse the camera even more. Come on. Come on. All right, there's the chat. Apple event was 41 minutes, 41 seconds on YouTube, including animations. So I guess Randy's the closest. No, we don't count the animations. The event started at 7. It didn't start at 6:50. Come on. And then I got to scroll all the way to the bottom, select, and then it lags, and then I hit import, and then it imports very, very slowly. But every time I try airdrop with a over 20-minute video, it fails. So the extra black spot is AI. Who's actually using rear iPad cameras? Well, it's like they showed. It's a document scanner. That's all it's for. Drew got to see a video tutorial on how to hold a pencil. Yeah, finally. Now I can do it properly. If you get M4 iPad Pro after dub, do shot on iPad Pro for one video. I've done it before, and it's always the same reaction. It's like, yeah, it doesn't look as good. Someone got the pricing right. I forget who. I guess I thought they would go higher with the entry model than they did, so I was pleasantly surprised. What did I say for the 12.9 inch though? I remember at some point saying $12.99. I think I thought it would be like a $200 gap, and it's still a $300 gap. I thought the gap between the Pros would reduce because they both have the same display now. Hopefully the wired data transfer process is updated in iOS 18/macOS Weed. Yeah, it's honestly sucked, and genuinely, I say this from the bottom of my heart, it was easier to import footage with a Pixel phone to my Mac than it is my iPhone. If you're going through a wire. Obviously, AirDrop is easiest, but it only really works if you're moving smaller files. So most of the time, AirDrop's fine, but when you do a big file, AirDrop falls apart. Without animations, it's like 38 minutes. I said it would be under 40. I said I'd be surprised if it's over 40. So, no, we don't have a release date for Final Cut Camera, but I can check. Well, this is... See, I hate this too. When your mouse moves over the timeline, it pauses the import process. It's like, oh, I can't import and scrub the timeline at the same time. See, the wired option sucks. I hate it. So I'm going to go to Apple now and try not to pause the import process. Let me read over the iPad Pro page here. I think I said that in my YouTube title, the thinnest Apple product ever. That's weird that the aluminum stretches over the glass, though. There's too many dots on that thing. Why would you hold a 13-inch iPad with 2 fingers? That's ridiculous. Yeah, contrast ratio got better. We kind of expected that. Where is Final Cut? Oh, yeah, they reduced the number of microphones, too. I forgot to mention that. That's almost exactly the same as the last. What did get loose mean, though? I don't know. Loosen up by thinning? Let's get thin? iPad Pro lost some weight? I don't know. Thinnest Apple product ever. Let me find that. Where am I? Oh, don't look at the videos I watch. Tailosive Tech. Thinnest Apple product ever. There you go. Oh, that's great. I gotta tweet that. How do I capture more? I'll put the two together. Oh no, don't play the. Okay, go back. Oh no, I have it here. Never mind. Was it at the top? I thought there was a different section. Did they say thinnest iPad Pro ever? Or iPad thinnest Apple Pro? Now I can't find it. Yeah, I didn't think we would hear the words iPod Nano today. Perfect wording choice. Aged like a fine wine. Are you done importing yet? 99%. Okay. It's a very easy slogan to think of. Let's see. Is there anything else I'm missing? So much display misconceptions. Stop pausing! Stop pausing! Oh my god, just finish the import. You're at 99%. This is a fully Apple controlled import process, and it's somehow worse. On the Pixel, it took full advantage of the higher speed port. I could drag it right into Finder. And the Capture app doesn't work very well either. It's also not taking advantage of the full speed of the USB-C port, and then you have to drag it from image capture into the Finder. It's annoying. Apple still wants me to write my footage directly to an SSD and then put the SSD into the Mac in order to access the footage through Finder, but I want to plug my microphone into my phone. Not an SSD. Why do we need this awkward middle step, Apple? My God, it's taking a long time. It's stuck at 99%. Is the image capture app method better using Photos app to import? I mean, the Photos app is horrible because you can't access anything in there. You can import it into Photos, but then you have to export it from Photos, which it doesn't give you a good progress bar like this. It's very inaccurate. It just hangs at 99% and waits, and it takes way too long. And then you have 2 copies of it. So you have it stuck in this Photos library thing, and then you have to duplicate the file to access it in Finder or access it anywhere else. So neither are very good. But yeah, the image capture is probably better, but it's very outdated too. They haven't touched it in years. It's just kind of floating around on macOS. Can you hurry up, please? We've got a lot of stuff to do today. It's just weird editing the recap and it's only 9 in the morning. I'm used to the event not even starting until 10. Didn't even get to say goodbye to my wife this morning because it's too early. Come on. 99%. Please. Please finish. Six, 5, 8, 9. That's it, right? Make sure it's the right one. Yep, 6, 5, 8, 9. Did I break it? I really need that Final Cut capture app. Or camera app. See? There's nothing even in the timeline, but just the mouse moving over it pauses the whole import thing. It sucks. It's horrible. Hopefully we'll be ready to record this evening. Oh my god. Okay, I'm just going to watch the progress bar and look through the... It's a thinner keyboard. Ultra Retina. Oh! It stopped. Okay. We're in. All right, let's get chopping. I gotta stop with the falling against the wall jokes because I really hurt my shoulder when I did that. I think it works better when there's a bunch of iPhones because you have a lot more boxes to hit. Randy Rants. Oh, yeah. Randy Rants would be good. Okay. We're at about 24 minutes without any editing. That's just the raw footage.
Oh, God. Are the storage size...
Wait.
Well, are the prices... Oh, God. Well, are the prices the same?
Let's see. I would like this to be 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds cool. It starts at 17.
Turn it up a little bit. Apple sheep. All the color temperature changed because of the blue light. All right. We got a lot of dead air there, so that should help us reduce the time. The color temperature is like, ah! The blue light threw everything off.
And the new keyboard.
I don't get, maybe you guys understood it better than I did. How does the Final Cut camera app work?
That old.
When you have multiple iPhones connected to it, is it just streaming the video to the iPad and then the iPad is what's storing the video? Or are the individual iPhones recording high resolution video? You're controlling it through the iPad, but then you airdrop the footage to the iPad afterwards to give it the full resolution? I don't... Because that's my one downside I'm thinking of. Is like one thing I wouldn't like about it is if the quality is restricted to whatever the iPhone is capable of casting to the iPad. Missed the part that this even was also shot on iPhone. Oh yeah, that was pretty neat. I just thought it was funny that they still needed a Mac to edit it. But yeah, it was shot fairly well. Like, the quality came out nice. Although there was sadly one moment I realized
just so they can make room for...
Um, there was one moment where they said, I said while watching it, the lighting in this scene doesn't look very good.
Any of the new, but yes, it's
It looks too dark. Like the subject isn't bright enough.
any of the new.
Oops, wait, we don't need that.
But yes, it's but yes, it's definitely a bummer that.
Oh, this is the one I kept.
But yes, it's absolutely
I screwed up a million times.
Are not going to work with any of. Also,
so if you don't know which was the good take, it's probably the last one. When they said, we've optimized Final Cut more for touch, I just died. I was like, stop it! I don't want more touch.
The 13-inch iPad.
Yep. Let's keep trying new ones. "15-minute recap of a 35-minute event isn't great, but it's all about what do you cut out.
And while it's annoying, I am grateful.
So I wonder how Mike's going to feel about the fact that 2 Apple events in a row were shot on iPhone. Does that mean shot on iPhone is just the new standard? Are now all Apple events shot on iPhone? The problem is they probably had to render out a lot of the iPad visualizations.
So iPad, but Apple.
That scene where they crush everything, though, with the paint and the piano and the guitar, that was shot really well and I thought looked pretty professional, but they're claiming it was all shot on iPhone. Unless there was some fine print at the bottom that I missed. Did I miss something? Yes, please. Stop it. Yeah, the lighting's really good there. But now looking at it, I can kind of tell it's shot on iPhone. That must have been very hard to shoot on iPhone. The drone shot. Okay, what did it say? All presenters' locations and aerial footage shot on iPhone. Edited on Mac and iPad. Why do I still need a Mac? I think the iPad should be capable of doing all of that without help from a Mac, but whatever. So the ads are still dedicated cameras. The ads? What do you mean? I don't think that's what that means. I think all presenters' locations and aerial footage means like the whole thing. That's what all means, right? Is that Porsche app out? I don't know. I don't own a Porsche. I thought they were gonna say that. Oops.
Foul. Just puts a. There is a
foul. I thought they were gonna say that they were expanding Vision Pro to other markets. That's what I thought they were about to announce. But he was just like, the Vision Pro is still cool. By the way. What's a computer? The iPad with the squishy emoji was a dedicated ad, not shot on iPhone. Well, it was part of the event. I don't know. That would be awfully deceptive of them to say all locations were shot on iPhone, but then there were also locations that were not shot on iPhone. I don't know. I guess that Apple is being awfully deceptive with the whole 11-inch iPad Air versus 10.9-inch iPad Air. It's like they're the same. They're the same thing. Stop acting like it's a bigger screen. It's not. Apple's literally clickbaiting. We're making the jump to a 13-inch. No, they were just tired of saying 12.9.
Dual stack tandem OLED.
Oop. Didn't they have a dev workshop in other countries for Vision Pro when it was a developer kit? But they still only have it available to purchase in the US? I don't remember that, no. It was just an ad inside a keynote. I thought it was an unveil. I don't remember him saying, we made this quick ad. I just remember him saying, like, and here's the new iPad Pro. That was how they unveiled it, was the squish. I'll have to watch it again. Sometimes you can tell. If you watch it again, you could be like, was this really shot on iPhone? It depends on like the rack focus and stuff. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not.
An infrared adaptive flash.
The flash uses AI. Oh my god.
Increase.
Hi, Visualizer. I'm doing well. I'm just stitching together this recap. The way they unveiled the 13 mini was an unveiling. She walked up and did the whole thing. That iPad was an ad. I mean, the whole thing is an ad, technically. I'm just saying, I didn't really call it an ad. It was just like, I mean, he didn't walk up and unveil it.
Why didn't you just wait?
It's the first time we saw it. Doesn't that make it an unveiling? I feel like the ad is usually when they like show the person using it and walking it around. And they've shot ads on iPhone before, right? I don't know. It just seems weird for them to do like an entire event shot on iPhone, but then like this one little segment where we use a hydraulic press. That's iPhone's not good enough for the hydraulic press. Well, maybe they'll do another behind the scenes video. They did one for the last event where they showed how they filmed the whole thing from an iPhone. If we watch that behind the scenes, then we might get our answer. If they clip the iPad Pro announcement and run it as an ad, it's an ad. The Apple presenters aren't ever used as an ad promo. I'm saying it's all advertising. It's all an ad at the end. But I don't know how else you would word it. If the whole thing, assuming the whole hydraulic press was shot on iPhone, how would you phrase that here? How else can you say it other than all presenters, locations, and aerial footage shot on iPhone? Like your aerial footage, yeah, we can do an iPhone with that. But we're filming a hydraulic press? No. iPhone's not good enough. When John was starting to talk about iPad Pro and pull the book said, it's thin possible.
So like some.
It can be both. I'm saying the whole thing is a big ad. There are short ads that they clip out of the event, but it's the first time we saw the new iPad Pro, so I consider it more of a unveiling. But did they use CGI? Yes, because there was drawing.
Yeah.
How much of the editing was done on iPad? That's the question. 17 minutes in. Hopefully, we'll be back here shortly. We cut out the fat.
So if you're spending that, then the nanotech.
John Turnus is doing a great job. Let me just be clear on that. He's the head of hardware. And Apple's hardware is fantastic. All of the iPadOS shortcomings are really on Craig at the end of the day. Craig Federighi is still the head of software, and we love him. He's great, but he's really keeping iPadOS in a box, in my opinion.
10-core CPU, and still, of course.
I don't think there's much more Apple could be doing in terms of hardware. Maybe 6 minutes, then they gave up and used a Mac. I wonder if they're just counting the Mac as what did like the 3D modeling and the rendering of the iPads, because there's definitely a lot of renders. And I'd be surprised if Apple used a big, NVIDIA GPU to render out their Apple Silicon advertisements. Craig is a gem, but even the best gems have flaws.
And all air.
That's what makes them unique. Craig is beautiful because he's Craig, but his one little flaw that makes him unique.
I mean, they did.
Is iPadOS.
Apparently.
Can you believe Vision Pro was unveiled almost a year ago now? It was at DubDub last year. It's been that long.
To just be able to and switch.
Just check on my Apple Vision Pro. Apparently the Porsche app isn't out yet, but they do have like 10 other apps. Ooh. 10 apps, huh? They've really been hyping up that Porsche collaboration, even though the app isn't out. 34 days until Craig time. Remember when Craig had that amazing guitar and he did a solo with it and everything? And we were like, oh, that must have been CG.
A bit higher than. I'm glad that I.
And it was not. Craig could actually play like that.
Liquid Retina having 6.
How did they get the iPhone to like fly by Apple Park and then like fly through the window? Did they use an iPad for that trick?
They're just. I'm glad that Apple.
Another one. Marquez just dropped his video on the Pixel 8a. Oh, Marquez!
The multicam.
Is he trying to kill the whole company of Google?
Doubling up on the store.
I wouldn't do that, even if the video's done. You don't want too much like media overlap, right? There's not a lot of news these days. You got to give the stories time to breathe. Everybody's going to want to talk about the Apple event. I've actually noticed it channel performance-wise. If you post 2 videos in a day, the second video, at least for me, I don't know what it's like for you guys, but the second video will significantly diminish the amount of views the first video gets. It's part of the reason I have more than one channel.
It doesn't work.
YouTube will push and recommend the latest video you post. So if you post 2 in a day, it's going to stop promoting and stop suggesting the first video you uploaded. So maybe Marquez ain't planning on posting an Apple recap today. That's fine. We're all going to watch it no matter when he uploads it. So Went to test drive a Taycan, and apparently the enhanced CarPlay is only available when you register the Porsche in your name and download the app, so I didn't try it out. Oh, I didn't know it had rolled out to them yet. I thought the enhanced CarPlay was still in development or something. I'd like to see it on a Porsche, though. Porsche makes good stuff. Okay, the Chop Chop Beats portion of the stream has officially begun. So the channel members are used to this kind of stuff. We usually a couple times a week are able to film and edit and live stream the whole process so you can see what goes on every day. It's been a busy week though. It'll be kind of nice to have like the recap video done and hopefully the podcast done, and it's like noon instead of what I'm used to when it's like we finished, it's 5 p.m. I've been working since 8. You do these like 7-hour live streams. They're exciting and exhilarating, but by the end of it you're like, oh my god. So how many comments on the Pixel video are about the Apple event is my question. If you guys are going to watch Marquez's video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Digitimes is reporting Apple wants to partner with Rivian in some way. What does that mean? No one knows. We know that Rivian has publicly stated on multiple occasions they do not want to support CarPlay. So I don't think it's CarPlay. What would an Apple Rivian partnership look like? That would be another interesting video. If I didn't have a bunch of news already on my list of things to talk about. I still haven't reviewed Full Self-Driving. I had it for a month. I want to do a recap video on that, but other news keeps coming out. Means Randy's buying a Rivian. Well, that was the case anyway, wasn't it? I think that was going to happen regardless. It's only a matter of time. After today, though, like, it's going to be very confusing for the next few months during this transition period where a bunch of people have Apple Pencil 2s that don't work with the new iPads and people have to buy keyboard cases. But if we're purely looking at it from like a brand new product standpoint, if we just, assuming you go on Apple's website and you want to buy an iPad, I do think the lineup has never been cleaner and better than it is now. You got your Mini and the budget iPad, and then you got your Air and your Pros. Airs and Pros. The Air comes in 2 sizes. The Pro comes in 2 sizes. And in a way, the budget iPads kind of come in 2 sizes. Except the bigger one is way cheaper. How much did Google pay Marquez to review the phone today? I imagine $0. Watched an interview with Marquez recently. He said he doesn't do sponsorships from biased third parties. So like he'll take a sponsorship from a completely different, like he'll do a Cash App sponsorship or a D brand sponsor, whatever. But if he's reviewing a phone, he will not review it if it's sponsored by the company who made the phone. So he has like a conflict of interest boundary. But it is funny. My bet is that Google probably just set the embargo day for the same day as the Apple event. Now, did they knowingly set it as the same day as the Apple event? We don't know, because the May 7th event was not really rumored that much. It was kind of out of left field. It was like, oh, there's an event today? Oh, okay. But, It's possible, knowing Google. It could be like, oh, there's a bunch of Apple news on the 7th. We should put our announcement then. The Apple Rivian collab rumor is the most interesting Apple rumor in a while. I agree. Absolutely, 100%. I don't think he's at Apple Park. I don't think it was an in-person event of any kind. It was all virtual. I think there was some kind of pop-up shop they were doing in London. So if anything, maybe he's in London, but I don't think there was like it's not like Dub Dub or the iPhone event where a bunch of people watch it there. They didn't invite anybody to show up in person, I think. It was too short. It'd be a lot of flying and a lot of hotels for a 35-minute presentation. I like that all the iPads have Type-C. I'm a little confused by the fact that there's so many different pencils now. That's not confusing at all, right? If someone hasn't tweeted that yet. I gotta find that. iPad. The pencils. No, not this one. Shop. Maybe that's where it is. This isn't confusing at all. Oh my god. There's so many. This is compatible with this one. This one works with the new one, but this one works with that one, and then you can still use that one technically if you use an adapter. Yike. PST. You lucky Eastern time zone people get to sleep in. Bunch of jerks. I had to get up early. And when I know I have to get up early, I don't sleep well. I had a hard time falling asleep. Then I wake up too early. I'm not a good sleeper, guys. I'm pretty sure the space black of the iPad will match the space black of the MacBook because all it is, spoiler, is they just do a couple more coats of the same space gray paint. You just layer it up a little bit and it gets darker. Who wants a stylus? I would seriously have put the front page of the Apple Pencil, just say, who wants a stylus? Okay. What are we down to? Under 19 minutes. Good, but I don't think I'm going to hit my goal of 15 if we're at 18 and a half minutes. Jeez. Okay. Zigzag. Let's just hope there were a lot of mistakes that I can cut out. Good morning. These are the best iPad Pros we've ever created. Good morning. What happened to... Can we find earthquake? There we go. Good morning. What happened to... Crop in a little bit. Good morning. What happened to the ultra-wide camera? Oh, well, you know, we decided to get rid of that. We didn't need that anymore, so... Do they... Whoops. Still have millimeter wave 5G? No. We decided to remove that. And even though we love 5G... Does it at least work? Wait... Does it at least work with my last Magic Keyboard case?
No. Does it at least work with my last Magic Keyboard case? No, because of the thinner size, none of your old iPad accessories will work. No.
Oh, good, good. We found a mistake.
Last Magic Keyboard case? No, because of the new...
But he doesn't cough.
Keyboard case? No, because of the new thinner size. It's the thinnest product we've ever made. None of your old iPad accessories will work with the new Pro. But my Apple Pencil will still work, right? Right? No, you'll have to buy the new and improved Apple Pencil Pro. Oh, God. Well, are the prices the same? Pro. Oh, God. Well, are the prices the same? No, there's a price hike.
You see Apple having a mainstream pop culture franchise on TV Plus. I assume that is their goal. Yeah, I mean, I know a ton of people that were not into Apple at all that love Ted Lasso. I know a lot of Android users that love Ted Lasso. I would say that's the closest thing to a mainstream pop culture franchise. A lot of people, I know a lot of people that like Severance too. I mean, they're more adult shows. You're talking about more family-friendly kid shows, but no, I don't know. Who's to say?
The Apple Pencil Pro. Oh, God. Well, are the prices the same? No, there's a price hike as well. But we did introduce...
Was that cropped? Yeah, okay.
As well. But we did introduce a nano-textured glass option. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds cool. How much is it? It starts at $7... Well, how much is it? It starts at $1,700.
Wait, how do I want to do this? Detach the audio.
How much is it? It starts at $1,700. How much is it? It starts at $1,700.
And intro.
Starts at $1,700.
Now, Marvel and DC is for kids and men that like to act like kids. Sorry.
$1,700. All right, a pretty well-paced Apple event, in my opinion, even if all of the announcements were not exactly what everybody hoped they would be. Like usual, people's expectations were way up here, so a lot of them were let down. I was pleasantly surprised, especially by the pricing. I thought a lot of the pricing today was...
What is on the main landing page? Yeah, the Air is front and center, huh? Oh, wait, that's the old iPad. What the heck? New price. Oh, wasn't the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, the Flower Moon movie? I didn't see it, but I heard everybody watched it. It did really well. That was an Apple-produced show.
Were let down. I was pleasantly surprised, especially by the pricing. I thought a lot of the pricing today was pretty reasonable. But the one thing I want to get out of the way from the beginning of today's announcements is the compatibility questions, because there is so much fine print attached to all of the new announcements between the new iPad Airs and Pros and the new keyboard cases and pencil that launched with them. So first of all, the Apple Pencil Pro, which now has...
Let's see, the Pro.
Launched with them. So first of all, the Apple Pencil Pro, which now has pressure sensitivity, the haptic engine, and probably the coolest underrated feature that thankfully wasn't leaked or anything, is you can actually rotate it to like switch between options, but also
do a barrel roll. The response there, I single-handedly closed the media. Yes, you did.
is you can actually rotate it to like switch between options, but also for like, you know, non-symmetrical paintbrush effects, you can kind of hover it over the display and know exactly which direction the paintbrush is moving before you actually start drawing. So that's cool. But that new Apple Pencil Pro, which is the same price as Apple Pencil 2 at just $129, that only works with today's...
Oh, wait, it was right there. Go back. Thank you. Can't get enough pros.
$29. That only works with today's announced iPads. You need an iPad Air with the M2 chip or an iPad Pro with the M4 chip, because I'm pretty confident Apple has specifically changed the inductive charging method in which the Apple Pencil Pro pairs with...
Did they show it docking somewhere? Probably not. Let me go here. Go watch the old media channel if you want to see my thoughts. It was good. I liked it.
Charging method in which the Apple Pencil Pro pairs with the new iPads, which sadly means for all of you who have an Apple Pencil 2nd Gen already for your iPad minis or your older iPad Pros or your iPad Airs, yeah, the Apple Pencil 2 does...
Let's find the old pencil. Oh my God, so much navigation. So much UI.
iPad Pros or your iPad Airs, yeah, the Apple Pencil 2 does not work with the new iPads that just came out. So if you were hoping, I'll just go out and upgrade my iPad, your old pencil is probably not going to work with these. At least that's what Apple's website is claiming. If something changes, I'll keep you posted. But as of right now, I'm pretty confident that Apple has had to change the inductive charging method for the pencil, specifically so that they could move the camera on both the new iPad Airs and Pro.
They're meant to be compared. What? Oh my God. Don't get me started. So we can't compare movies until they have an equal number of movies. So you can't compare Harry Potter to Lord of the Rings because there's more Harry Potter movies. It's like, come on. Yeah, the camera is a little off.
Charging method for the pencil, specifically so that they could move the camera on both the new iPad Airs and Pros to the landscape orientation. And if you pay really close attention, Apple actually did exactly what I suggested back when the iPad 10 dropped support for the Apple Pencil 2, because they wanted that camera on the
landscape. I still think you can make a judgment that because they decided not to focus more on the main character, that's a decision. Your argument is a hypothetical. You're saying it could explore more of this in the future, and you don't know if it will, or if it will do it well.
Because they wanted that camera on the landscape side, I guess because it's more Mac-like or something. I told them, you can still put the charging connector there, just move the webcam over a little bit, and it looks like that's actually exactly what they did. They're trying to hide it because it's kind of asymmetrical, but yeah, the camera is not quite centered. It's just a little bit off, just so they can make room for that new and improved.
That's actually a perfect angle. That shows exactly what I'm talking about. Whatever's behind there.
I guess Apple Pencil charging method. But yes, it is definitely a big bummer that all of your old Apple Pencil 2s aren't going to work with any of the iPads they launch. But yes, it's...
Wait, what?
Aren't going to work with any of the iPads they launch. But yes, it's...
Did I miss something?
Any of the new... But yes, it's...
Oh, it was a retake.
Charging method. But yes, it is definitely a big bummer that all of your old Apple Pencil 2s... But yeah...
Ah, that's it.
not quite centered. It's just a little bit off, just so they can make room for that new and improved, I guess, Apple Pencil charging method. But yes, it's definitely a bummer that all of our old Apple Pencil 2s are not going to work with any of the new iPads that launched today. Sorry. Also, there's a lot of confusion with the new Magic Keyboard cases as well. So
yeah, I just think it's a silly argument, but having that argument is what made me realize I don't need to do this anymore. This is stupid. It's a stupid argument. There's the new seal. We didn't talk about the gasket, I guess, but the video's long enough already.
Ads that launched today. Sorry. Also, there's a lot of confusion with the new Magic Keyboard cases as well. So the good news is the new iPad Airs are compatible
for iPad Pro. Whoops. I think the thinness will probably make it prone to more flexing, yes. But most people are probably going to use it in a case, so it'll probably be fine.
iPad Airs are compatible with the old Magic Keyboard cases, so you shouldn't have to buy a new keyboard case if you already had one optimized for, 11-inch or 13 inches. But the bad news is the iPad Pros require new keyboard cases.
Whoa! What the? Chris! Why would you do that? Oh no, I hope that wasn't an accident. He says, are you buying anything? Now I feel like I should. Jeez. I was thinking I want to, but I want to wait till Dub to make sure I get all the latest iPadOS features, whatever they are. That's way too much, Chris. What was that? He didn't say like anything. He just randomly shows up. Oh crap. Well, that's very kind of you.
Is Man. The iPad Pros.
Hope you're having a great day, Chris. Seriously, thank you. That was way too much. Oh my god. Now I feel bad.
The iPad Pros require new keyboard cases because, as Apple said, these are the thinnest products they've ever made. The 13-inch iPad Pro is 5.1 millimeters thin. It's just absurd. Jerry Rig Everything is gonna love this thing. It's gonna make him a lot of money, but because of this new thinner design, and also it's slightly wider, it's slightly
okay, where is the compare page? Sorry, I'm having a hard time going back to work. That super chat, I think, might be the largest super chat this channel has ever seen. And this was such a random time for him to drop that. I don't think we've ever had a bigger one. I feel like I should buy something. Oh, crap. I want to check the stuff out. I just don't. When I review it, I want to hold on to it, for iPadOS 18 and all.
Because of this new thinner design, and also it's slightly wider, it's slightly taller. I don't think there's thinner bezels, but the screen size technically did go up a little bit on the 13-inch iPad Pro, and because of those dimension changes, Apple's website at least is claiming that these new iPad Pros will not work with any old keyboard case. You need all new folio covers, you need all new Magic Keyboard cases, which they did refresh, and while it's annoying that you have to buy all new ones, I am grateful that they're the exact same price as...
Where is it? There it is.
Ones, I am grateful that they're the exact same price as before, and they're better than before, because now Apple has put an aluminum cover on top of the keyboard. So
gotta go back. Keyboards. Did they have a learn more, or was that only in the event that they showed the... It's a glass trackpad. Oh.
an aluminum cover on top of the keyboard, so where you rest your palms at least is gonna feel metal, just like a MacBook. The trackpad got a little bit bigger and now has haptic touch, so it's not that cheap physical clicky button that we had on our old keyboard cases. So it should feel a bit more premium, and it costs the same as the last generation, but yeah, definitely a bummer that the new iPad Pros are not going to work with the old keyboard cases.
No, this was by far not the dumbest Apple event ever. That would be the March 2019 event, which was 2.5 hours of Apple services, and it sucked. I remember watching the chat. People were straight up leaving. They were like, I watch every Apple event, but I can't finish this. It's too horrible. Oh my God, that one was by far the worst.
Many of us spent $300+ on easily. So iPad Airs, but Apple decided to throw in the function keys.
Do they have more pictures of it than this? I gotta go to the order now page. I'll just do the whole thing. Ta-da. It could have been a site refresh, yeah. But it's a new design and they want to show off how they can shoot an iPhone. I mean, come on. Yeah, there's one less mic as well.
$300+ on easily. But Apple decided to throw in the function keys, just like the iPad 10 keyboard had. But I guess if you want to use an iPad Air, no function keys for you. You got to go with the iPad 10, or you got to go with the iPad Pro if you want function keys, which is a little weird. But at least Apple has finally today killed off the...
Do they have like a Explore? Oh yeah, I'll just show this. Show the lineup. At least they didn't kill off the Mini. That would have sucked. I actually remember the event reacting to the iPad Mini unveil because right as they were unveiling the Mini, Apple took down my stream. I thought they were... That was when I was trying to show the stream on, you know, my reaction.
A little weird, but at least Apple has finally today... If you want function keys, which is a little weird, but at least Apple has finally today killed off the iPad 9, so there is officially no more new iPads with home buttons and lightning ports. The USB-C transition has completed amongst the iPad lineup, and thankfully they have reduced the price of the iPad 10 to...
I think I already got a screenshot. Yeah. No point even updating it, honestly, considering iPadOS still can't even max out an M1. Yeah, it's for people who want... I think that the Pencil Pro feature is cool for artists. I keep looking at it as the iPad is really just there to sell Apple Pencils. You can't use a pencil on a phone. You can't use the pencil on the Mac. It's for the note takers and the artists. It's not for me. I'm a Mac guy. But that gyro, being able to paint from multiple angles and hover over before, I was like, yeah, as an artist, I can see why that's very helpful. Is it your dream to simplify your video making? Wouldn't this iPad be the final form? You record and edit on Final Cut all on the same device? I did that. I tried that. I mean, this isn't a new idea. I could do that on the old iPads too. It's the same exact camera as before. I reviewed an M1 iPad and I did a whole video that was shot and edited on the iPad. And it's just slower. It just takes longer and it doesn't look as good because the camera's not as good as the iPhone, and the editing takes way longer because they don't optimize it for keyboard and mouse like they do on the Mac. So my main focus is what helps me get done with content faster. I'm not going to get rid of my phone, so I'm going to have a phone regardless. And I love my Mac. I'm not getting rid of that. So honestly, the only way for me to consider getting an iPad is if it would replace my Mac. And this would not replace my Mac very well.
And thankfully, they have reduced the price of the iPad 10 to $340.
They're still offering iPad 10 and 11? There's no iPad 11. I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff. But there's no iPad 9. I don't know where you see. I don't know where to buy it. It's not here. Where do I go? Store? iPad, budget iPad, iPad Mini, Air Pro. I do not see iPad 9 anywhere. Don't think. Current iPad models. Yeah, there's no iPad 9th gen listed here. So yeah, it's dead.
They have reduced the price of the iPad 10 to $349, an amazing value in my opinion, far better price. I always thought $450 was way too high for an iPad without a laminated display, and I hated the fact that it wasn't compatible with the new Apple Pencil, but then they launched the $80 USB-C Apple Pencil, and I think Apple has, for the most part, kind of fixed all of my complaints with...
Did I ever get B-roll? I have a friend who bought the USB-C pencil, and I remembered taking a video or something of his pencil, but I'm not sure where I put it. No, I guess I didn't save it. Whatever.
Fixed all of my complaints with the iPad 10. Having a pencil that connects with the included cable that, came with the box of your iPad so that you can plug it in and charge it. You don't have to use some stupid adapter to get a lightning pencil connected to it. That's been fixed, and again, now the price is more reasonable, so I'm happy with the iPad lineup now. I just wish the iPad mini would have gotten some love because...
Let me go back here.
iPad mini would have gotten some love because it didn't get anything new today. The iPad Airs, which now come in multiple sizes, I think are somewhat interesting because at least the price didn't go up and they doubled up the storage, so now they both start at one.
Where's the Air order? There we go. No, I don't want the size already chosen. Show me what it is without the size. Whatever. Freaking weird ass iPad wallpaper. Sorry.
Doubled up the storage, so now they both start at 128 gig. And yes, there is now a larger size option, but the marketing of them just puts a really foul taste in my mouth. So yeah, there is a bigger iPad Air now that starts at $799. Technically, you've never been able to buy a new iPad.
Fresh air.
To buy a new iPad with a display this big for that cheap, so that's good. My annoyance though is that Apple keeps claiming that these are now 11-inch and 13-inch iPad Airs, even though in the tech specs it says actually we're rounding up a little bit.
It's okay if you round up, but at least round up for the earlier models too. Because that just makes it feel like you're, I don't know, pushing people.
Rounding up a little bit, the actual display resolution and size is the same as previous generation iPads. The screens are not bigger than before, but Apple is using marketing, and they don't even bring up this change in marketing in the compare pages to create the...
So let's check. iPad Air 11-inch versus iPad Pair. Yeah, that's a little shady. How big is the screen?
Don't even bring up this change in marketing in the compare pages to create the illusion that the new iPad Air has a slightly larger display than the last generation, when in reality it's the exact same display size, exact same bezels, exact same dimensions. So that's just a little weird.
We can drop the so.
That's just a little weird. Apple, don't try to play games with us like that. It's a bit more justified, at least on the iPad Pros, because with this switch to Ultra Retina...
Alright, let's have some fun with the Pros, shall we? Give me that good unveil animation.
With this switch to Ultra Retina XDR, yes, just when I thought Apple was out of display names, they pulled another name out of their hat. Those displays did technically get a little bit bigger, although it did not result in the bezels shrinking because, like I said, the new iPad Pros are a little bit taller.
That's comparing to the Air. Someone's going to call me out on that. I know it. Let me compare it to the last gen. Don't do that. Ooh. Got a little taller, a little wider. From that hydraulic pressing.
And the new iPad Pros are a little bit taller and a little bit wider than their previous generation versions, but they get to call it 13 inches because they're not exactly rounding up anymore. That one seems more fair to me to describe, but yeah, anyway, dual stack OLED displays. Tandem OLED is Apple's.
Okay, now go back to the Pro, please. Take a closer look. Materials. Oh, let it shine. Oh, God. Oh, God. Apple. Stop making... The only thing better than an OLED panel? 2 OLED panels. Wow. Apple marketing. Oh, let it shine. I want to punch someone right now.
Fair to me to describe, but yeah, anyway, dual stack OLED displays, tandem OLED as Apple is calling them, has finally made their way to the iPad Pro. This means even for typical everyday usage, they can hit 1,000 nits and they can still hit 1,600 nits for HDR content. Of course, the landscape camera, and as I mentioned in the skit, they've done some weird things with them to kind of, I don't know, probably keep the price down, because I imagine these two, I don't know,
Ooh, another mistake. Tried out Mercedes Auto Park the other day. Doesn't recognize spots. Yeah, I haven't seen an auto park as good as the Tesla Vision one, but it's still not great. What do you do with the crypto people gave you? I still have it. I haven't sold any crypto. I probably should. I probably should have a while ago, but I still have it.
HDR.
Is the iPad Pro thinner than the iPhone Pro? Oh, yeah. Dude, the new iPad Pro is thinner than any other Apple product. Not counting the credit card, because that's stupid. But they even said it's thinner than the iPod Nano today.
Content, and as I mentioned in the skit, they've done some weird things with them to kind of, I don't know, probably keep the price down, because these dual OLED panels are likely very, very pricey. So they took out the ultra-wide lens.
Where's that camera? That weird looking camera bump. They probably can't fit a better camera in there because it's too thin. I think AirTag's not that thin. They can fit a whole coin cell in there.
Very pricey. So they took out the ultra-wide lens. Yeah, there's no more dual camera on the iPad Pro. No one really saw that coming. There's a LiDAR scanner still. Funny that Apple thought LiDAR was more important than the ultra-wide lens, because I know a lot of people kind of like those ultra-wide lenses, but they were very old. The ones they were using were from the iPhone 11, and there's not a new rear-facing camera. It's not like they improved that in any way, but there's also just this extra black dot that...
Can we go deeper? I went to explore. They really don't want a close-up on that thing, huh? You know how many people are going to freaking say, Drew, the black dot is LiDAR, or Drew, the black dot is a microphone? No. You shut up and listen. That's the LiDAR. That's the microphone. What the heck is even that?
It's not like they improved that in any way, but there's also just this extra black dot. That's not the LiDAR scanner, and it's not the microphone, so we're not exactly sure.
Even though I say that, they're going to ignore that and go straight to the comments and say, Drew, it's LiDAR.
What it is. Some people think it could be a flood illuminator or an infrared sensor that helps with the new adaptive flash that's supposed to make document scanning better. So Apple doesn't seem to want to double down.
Oh, Randy hasn't seen the Batman yet. Don't watch it. You wouldn't like it.
Scanning better. Apple doesn't seem to want to double down on putting like an amazing, iPhone 15 level camera sensor in the iPad Pro, but they did say they improved the amount of graphite in the enclosure. And
was that the word they used? Or am I pulling crap out of my butt? It said a deeper look at materials. Quarter of a pound lighter. That doesn't sound very good. Oh, they're not listing it here on the website. There's a good camera bump, actually. AirTag is 8 millimeters. The 11-inch iPad Pro is 5.3. What's funny is the 13-inch iPad Pro is actually thinner at 5.1 millimeters. Why did they make the big one thinner? They
improved the amount of graphite in the enclosure and increased the amount of copper in the Apple logo. And apparently that means these new chassis, even though they're razor thin, should improve the thermal performance of the iPad Pro, which is good because, yes, today Apple unveiled the M.
This is a load of barnacles. I don't like that overlay. Can we go deeper? Rocket chip. Rocket chip. Okay, let's look at this graph. Fine, we'll do the stupid Assassin's Creed overlay. Whatever.
Yes, today Apple unveiled the M4 chip, and unlike kind of what I was expecting, wasn't really doubling down too much on it being an AI-focused chip, which was what was kind of rumored. No, they're saying that this new second-generation 3-nanometer architecture is supposed to result in performance enhancements above the M3.
Performance enhancements.
In performance.
I'm rushing, okay? I'm doing all this by memory, so I'm gonna make mistakes. New Tailosive tech terminology. That's a fun word right there. But because it's Apple, we have to switch it to San Francisco. All the memes.
Is supposed to result in performance enhancements. In performance enhancements above the M3 across the board. They're saying much better CPU performance, much better GPU performance.
Up to 1.01 times fast. Of course, you compare it to the M2. It's probably more noticeable. Actually, that might make more sense. More devices might need to skip generations so that Apple can boast about better performance.
Better CPU performance, much better GPU performance. We'll see if these 5mm computers actually let us hit the overhead that the M4 is capable of reaching. I'm guessing it probably won't. But yeah, I am just even more perplexed now. If you had this next generation 3-nanometer architecture, why didn't you just wait a couple of months to refresh the MacBook Airs, which launched just a couple of months ago with the...
It was not that long ago. When did the M3 Air come out? Wasn't that March? Yeah, they still even have their new badge. That's what I call mean. All those people. I want an M3 Air because it's lighter than my 14-inch MacBook. Shut up! It's not lighter.
MacBook Airs, which launched...
Apple doesn't know what to do with the iPad refresh. They just make it thinner. Crazy how thin it is compared to the pencil. Oh, yeah. I wonder if the pencil actually falls off.
Launched just a couple of months ago with the M3. Airs, which launched just a couple of months ago with the M3. Could have probably waited a minute and just put the M4s on those so that they're a little bit more up to date. Sorry to everybody who bought an M3 Air. I guess your chip is...
worthless.
Outdated already. But the awkward thing I have to admit about the iPad Pros being this absurdly thin is the fact that the...
Who was it? Was it Ian Zelbo who tweeted that? We follow each other. Oh, we best friends. What happens if you set it on a table? We're finna about to find out.
iPad Pros being this absurdly thin is the fact that the Apple Pencil is now about twice the thickness of an iPad Pro. So a lot of people are rightfully concerned.
Stop saying so, Drew. It's annoying.
Of an iPad Pro. A lot of people are rightfully concerned that if you're using the iPad without a case, like with a pencil for drawing or note-taking, if you lay it flat on a table, is it just gonna pop the pencil right off? That's going to get annoying very fast. And also the price of these new iPad Pros is going to be difficult to stomach for a lot of people because yes, now both sizes are getting new display technology, which is cool, but both of them got $200 price.
Let me see the... Hurry up. Just let me hit the order. Thank you. There we go. I can't believe it says Pro. Oh yeah, it was Ian's elbow. Sorry. He was the guy who switched. I was talking about who made the tweet, but he also switched to an M3 Air. Now I feel bad for him.
Display technology, which is cool, but both of them got $200 price increases, which for the 11-inch is a bit understandable because they were going from a LCD display to a very advanced, dual stack OLED panel. There's not a lot of tablets that have these kind of display specifications these days. So that one's starting at $1,000 now, and luckily they upped the storage too.
That was kind of a repeat. What's the point getting a 13-inch? The stupid reaction gets in the way of the messages. iPad Air. You might as well go for the M2 iPad Pro. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I guess that has the hover feature. Can you find an M2 iPad Pro for $800? If you can, great, but I'm not sure if they're going for that low. But yeah, they're probably pretty close now that they've been out for a while.
There's not a lot of tablets that have these kind of display specifications these days. Luckily, they upped the storage to 256 gig for both Pros, so I'm glad they did that at least. But $1,000 for the 11-inch is understandable, but $1,300 for
Just kept saying the same thing, Drew.
At least, but I'm glad they did that at least, but $1,300 for the 13-inch iPad Pro, that one's actually
it's like $100 an inch.
Kind of difficult to justify now. It's the same price gap as before, but before the 12.9-inch iPad Pro had mini LED and the 11-inch did not. So I think a lot of people justified it in their heads as, okay, it's a bigger iPad, but it has this much more advanced XDR display, so that's what you're paying for. Now, both the iPads have this XDR display, so is it
another XDR
display? Is it really worth an extra $300 for a 2-inch larger screen? I guess some people really want the biggest iPad they can, and Apple's probably trying to justify that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the difference in margins between these products are quite different. Like, I bet the margins on the entry-level 11-inch iPad Pro are pretty thin relative to the other larger iPads with more storage options, which brings me to one of the weirdest things about the iPad Pro lineup is how many feature locks they've put regarding to your storage configuration, more than ever before. So like some things aren't new, like the old iPad Pros that are now going out, they had for a while restricted 16.
Don't need to say for a while.
They had restricted 16.
It sounds awkward now. That's okay. I look awkward too. Since the Pro's OLED is the Air Mini LED? No. That ended up being false. Ross Young generating clicks for no reason. Can't trust him anymore. Tech specs? Is that where I'm looking? Come on. Hurry up. Oh, good. I want to edit my 8K video on my iPad. Let me know who's doing that. You're shooting at 8K and then offloading to an iPad.
Pros that are now going out, they had restricted 16 gigs of unified memory to the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte storage models. So if you didn't opt for 1 or 2 terabytes, you were left with 8 gigs of unified memory. That's still the same situation here, but Apple's new nano textured glass option, which is now coming with the iPad Pros, you have to buy one.
Oh, wait. Stay there. I'm going to need you later. X order. Okay, let's make it look as reasonable as possible. Oh yeah, wait, I gotta get it 1 terabyte. Someone's gonna like that. I don't know. Why don't we just go to an Apple store and play around with one of these things? Why do I gotta go out and order it and return it and all that crap?
Now coming with the iPad Pros, you have to buy 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes of storage to get the nano textured glass. That's very weird, but my guess is the nano textured glass is quite expensive. I mean, it's usually a couple $100 extra on a Pro display or a Studio display. So to do it at scale and to do it on a touchscreen that's going to be interacting with an Apple Pencil and everything, yeah, that's probably a bit complicated to do at scale. So it's not that the
another so
going to be interacting with an Apple Pencil and everything. It's not that the nano textured glass like needs a terabyte of storage or something. I think the main thing is, you know, it doesn't cost Apple hardly anything to put a terabyte in an iPad versus putting in 256 gigs. Apple spreads out the prices, of course, between those NANDs to distribute the margins so that they can price one way lower and one way higher. But the bill of materials, like the actual difference in the NAND price, is probably a couple of bucks. So I think Apple bucks. I think Apple's justifying this by saying, you know, our margins are really, really good on the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte models because, you know, they charge $1,600, $1,700 plus bucks for those models. So if you're spending that much on an iPad, then the nano textured glass being an extra $100 is, I guess, more digestible for them. They clearly don't want everybody speccing it for this, but yeah, definitely weird to see the iPad have so many feature differences between the different storage options, and it extends to the silicon now as well. This is a first for the iPad Pro line that I haven't seen before. If you don't get 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes of storage, it seems they give you a
there's the tech specs.
If you don't get 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes of storage, it seems they give you a binned version of the M4 chip that only has 3 performance cores instead of 4. But yeah, if you spec it up to the 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte iPad Pros, you do get the fully unlocked 10-core CPU with 4 performance cores and still, of course, 6 efficiency cores. We've seen them do that with the Mac lineup for a while, but it's just interesting to... We've seen them...
Whoopsies.
Efficiency cores. We've seen them do that with the Mac lineup for a while, but yeah, you will technically get different CPU performance based on which storage iPad you go with, which is just kind of funny. But hey, if you're really willing to spec up for the nano textured glass, they throw in the polishing cloth, which...
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Nano textured. Yeah, baby. We'll use this screenshot later when I mention the cable.
If you're really willing to spec up for the nano textured glass, they throw in the polishing cloth, which we all know is invaluable. So everybody spec it up to 2 terabytes easily. Also, thank God they finally brought a new color option to the iPad Pro, although not that different. It's probably just another coat of paint. It's now space black instead of...
Name other pictures. Is this it? There you go. You never know what happening ahead of time since software leaks aren't as prominent. There's still been a lot of accurate software leaks, but we're getting RCS support and we're getting AI. Tim Cook leaked that.
It's now space black instead of space gray, which is definitely a welcome change. The iPad Pro colors have welcome change. The iPad Pro colors haven't changed in like a decade. And the cool thing is if you opt for space black, they actually give you a color matched braided USB.
Yeah, boy. Type-C for the win. Yeah, software's more important these days.
You a color matched braided USB-C cable in the box, which I really like. No black power bricks, of course. All power bricks have to be white.
We can.
And all AirPods have.
We gotta cut this video up, Drew. It's almost 15 minutes.
Which I really like. But yeah, overall, I think Apple
How short can I get this?
I really like. Overall, I think Apple really like. Think Apple probably. I think Apple probably has some more tricks up their sleeve for iPadOS, and we're going to have to wait till dub to find out what this M4 chip is really capable of doing. I mean, they did give us some updates with Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro 2. I'm still not...
Would that be in Newsroom? What do you think? Yeah. Find out for iPad 2. What? Oh, can I just download this? Thank you. Oh, what's in there? Is it the video?
In Logic Pro 2, I'm still not interested in paying a...
Maybe we'll start it with the screenshot. With AI. We're bringing AI to AI with AI and 5G. 5G.
doing. I mean, they did give us some updates with Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro 2. I'm still not interested in paying a membership for these pro apps, but apparently Apple is getting a little bit more interested in Final Cut finally for the iPad, but not by bringing more Mac features over, just trying to bring in more touch optimized stuff, which is kind of neat because they're saying you can pair multiple iPhones now wirelessly to the iPad and switch between them with this multicam view. So there's a new cam.
You had a screenshot. Yeah. Is the Apple Card or polishing cloth thinner? I would guess the card if you're going just on... I mean, you could probably squish the cloth to be as thin as the card, but the card you can't squish. But with the cloth, there's little fabric-y materials. It's like you could count it, but you could also flatten it if you really wanted to.
And switch between them with this multicam view. So there's a new camera app coming to the iPhone with more pro controls too. That was honestly one of the coolest things about this event was, oh hey, even if you don't buy these iPads, you're gonna get some new software features. Although I'm not sure if you necessarily need the new iPad Pro with M4 to access those multicam features, but it looked cool to just be able to put up a bunch of iPhones and switch between the multicam view and be editing them in real time. I'm hoping all of the guys on the Tailosive Tech podcast could get our phones together and hopefully do an in-person podcast, and we could make it multi-camera with all of our personally owned iPhones, which is just kind of a great, cool idea to just be like, hey, we all showed up to the shoot and now we can all use our phones and have them work together. But I doubt they're able to like stream the actual 4K recordings to the iPad. The recordings probably have to be separate, otherwise the multicam clip is going to be very compressed and not very high frame rate or resolution. So there's much more to play around with that I'm excited to try out later. But overall, I was decently surprised because my expectations were somewhat low. I thought the prices might be a bit higher than they ended up being. I'm glad the iPad 10 got a price reduction and these new keyboard cases. The backwards compatibility thing, I think.
Oh no, not that one. This one. Are you almost ready, Randy?
I'm glad the iPad 10 got a price reduction and these new keyboard cases. The backwards compatibility thing, I think, sucks. However, I'm grateful that the price didn't change all that much. And it's certainly a bummer that the iPad Air is still rocking a basic Liquid Retina 60 Hz display. Having 60 Hz on an $800 iPad with a display that big, yeah, that's going to be a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. Although they did at least bring the Apple Pencil hover feature over to the iPad Air, but I'm still convinced that's absolutely a software lock. They could add that to older iPads if they wanted to. They're just choosing not to, which sucks. But I'm glad that Apple was able to make a well-paced event where things were moving quickly. There was a lot of changes that I wasn't anticipating, like the gyro in the Apple Pencil. That's really cool. The multicam features.
I think they have a video of that I could download very quickly. They have something with the pencil. It would probably be in the Pro section, right? No newsroom posts? No Chick-fil-A sauce? I found it. Yes. Mike is working. He cannot make the podcast, I'm afraid.
Wasn't anticipating, like the gyro in the Apple Pencil. That's really cool. The multicam features in Final Cut were great. And I'm glad that Apple was able to make a well-paced event where things were moving quickly. There was a lot of changes that I wasn't anticipating, like the gyro in the Apple Pencil. That's really cool. The multicam features in Final Cut were great, and doubling up on the storage for both the Airs and the Pros was very welcome. Well, what did you guys think overall? Were you disappointed? Are any of you considering upgrading your iPads now? Don't forget about which cases and pencils are compatible with which. I think a lot of people honestly are going to be quite confused with the new Apple Pencil shake-up thing, especially Apple Store employees. People are going to walk in and be like, I have an iPad Pro, can I? Especially the Apple Store employees, you know, people are going to walk in with their M1, M2 iPad Pros and go, oh, can I buy that Apple Pencil Pro? Sorry, you need to buy a whole new iPad Pro if you want to use the gyro feature with the haptic engine. Or people are going to go out and buy a new M4 iPad Pro and they're like, wow, the OLED display is great. Let me get my Apple Pencil 2 here, and oh, it doesn't work. I wouldn't even be surprised if the magnets still technically align with it. It just doesn't physically charge and pair, which is frustrating that Apple couldn't find a way to make that cross-compatible. I don't know what the issue is there, but something to do with the repositioned camera and the thickness. I don't know. All your thoughts, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. And thank you.
All right. We have our recap.
Down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will.
It's under 18 minutes at least, but I feel like a lot of the video was bringing up what Apple didn't bring up.
Here, and I will see you all in the next one.
All right. We're going to have to start the upload process. Let loose recap, which unfortunately means it is time to end the live stream so that we can get the upload running, and we can also start recording the Tailosive Tech podcast, which we're hoping to do a same-day turnaround so that we can upload the podcast. The 35-minute event is going to get an hour and a half long podcast where we really dive into it. But thank you all. Seriously, Chris Norton especially. I hope that wasn't an accident. He didn't say much today, but he super chatted, the biggest super chat I think the channel's ever seen, which was insane. Very generous, very kind. If it wasn't indeed intentional, if it wasn't intentional, get in contact with me. I'll try to help. Twitter's probably the best way to do it. Tailosive Tech on Twitter. If you need me, just tag me. And yeah, we'll hopefully get this video up shortly. I hope you guys were, if not impressed by Apple's announcements, at least a little bit entertained by the skit, by the coverage, by whatever we did. Hope made it a little bit more interesting for y'all. All the channel members who are still watching, and anybody who's not a channel member that stuck through even though they weren't allowed to speak in the chat. Seriously, thank you very much. I hope you all have an excellent rest of your day. Take care, all. Bye-bye.